Welcome everybody to the grand finals. It has been a long battle coming. We have gone through actually not eight, but 7 weeks of bot matches, all the way from our different rectangles of the group stages to the bracket stages to now the grand finals. And I'm here, your host, Drekken, and I have been happy to welcome you to the season 2024, season 3, our last Probots of the year. Remember, we're going to get that cadence going. The last one of the year. I welcome our co-caster, my co-caster, End of Sword.
Yo, yo. How's it going? No.
Fine, we're ready to do some bots, and the magic's about to happen. Man, 7 weeks of Probots. Last one of the year, holiday. Actually, forgot my hat. I'll get it after the break.
It's got to be Christmassy.
It has to be Christmassy. No. I mean, we've come so far. It's been a amount of bots, and before we do it, we always have our exhibition. So, I mean, how is for you? What are you looking forward to for this grand finals?
For the grand finals itself, just looking forward to variety, since we've got I don't know, relatively new bots, basically, that we haven't, I don't think we've seen play each other, and one is pretty much new this season. So I think just kind of, we're already out of the normal mold of what we see in the top 4. So I think, I want to see some novelty in how these two interact with each other. I want to see a lot of exotic unit use, basically.
I mean, if we had Sharkbot, I would say that's going to be a given, but there's no Sharkbot, but that's okay.
I think Infestors, at least. Infestors have been the star for Caninana so far.
Yeah, I think Caninana has really been killing it with the Infestors and the fungal growth plus neuroparasite has been quite their working order. It's been doing well. So even before we get started, let's break down. We'll talk a little bit about some housekeeping. We're going to get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. So yesterday, if you had checked it out, we did the AI Summit conversation with across the multiverse of the bot creators, talking to the different bot creators about their bots. It was actually really good conversation. Actually, I wouldn't tell you if it was a bad one. If it was a bad one, I wouldn't have said anything. But I recommend you check it out. It was a good discussion. A lot of smart people in the room, way smarter than me, talking about their different bots. So we had Timo from DeepMind, Vlad from Smash, Kyotek from Rocket League, and Peter from Pokemon, talking about their different bots. And we did a little bit of comparison between, obviously, reinforcement learning, supervised learning, pros and cons for getting a bot if you want to keep it under a budget. Then a bit of exploration between the competitive bots versus because Peter's from Pokemon, so he's more world exploration than competitive. So good little cross between that. And just some good tips in there if you're up for it and you want to try to get a machine learning bot working and would like to not keep it on a budget. Vlad Smashbot though, being he trained it on a laptop, which was super impressive. I liked it. So really easy going there to listen to. So highly recommend it. And then this week I did a workshop about getting a ZergRush AI bot up and going, and that really well. Check out the VOD. You can build your own following that. And there's also the template. It's in the description if you want to get started there. Really easy. I laid it out for you. So highly recommend it. And
Indeed.
You checked out the workshop. Did you get a chance to check out our summit yesterday?
Yeah, I saw a bit of that. It was kind of, actually, Tony was over visiting.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we checked it out, and some of that I'd seen, I'd watched videos on the Pokemon one before in particular. So I saw some of the issues he had with how to reward it for things like finding a new screen, especially when an animation on the same screen was things like that were kind of neat.
Yeah, I like that. I actually watched his video. His video was really well done. I definitely forget to ask him, his production value for that video was off the charts, and it was super fun to watch. And yeah, just also the Magic Carp and the rewards there, shaping the rewards with they're thinking just running away with the magic carp. I thought was really fun. So a lot of really good things. I highly recommend it. But we're talking about these bots and their reward of winning this tournament and what will happen from there. So we got our humans versus Probots, and as you all know, actually, why don't you tell everyone the style of humans versus Probots? Give them a bit of an update.
Humans versus Probots. We used to refer to as Pokemon style, but it's actually not anymore. It's Pro League style, where you basically just match up one human versus the bot. Survivor does not stay. We just move on to the next one. But we've got 5 bots this time, so it will be a best of 5 format, humans versus the Probots, and I think we've got a variety of different human players that are a variety of skill levels, so we'll see how that pans out for them. The bots do have to be modified to play against humans, given that they're used to playing at like 16 times speed and examining all the frames and stuff. Slowing it down actually affects how their programming works, so they have to be adjusted a bit for humans. And some of them have builds that are more specific to the human experience, what's more likely to kill a person as opposed to another bot. So, so hopefully some of the bots, surprise some of the humans with their behaviors. They can be tough especially if you don't know what's going to come.
It's also some of these bots can react weirdly when they're first put into this real-time mode. You'll get a lot of sometimes unusual bugs just because you will find that, and Caninana, this is the first time Caninana is in the humans versus Probots. Caninana purposely turned off speed mining because they felt that it would cause chaos just because of real time. And it was just better to just keep it off.
Yeah.
So, we'll find that, especially going into real time, you're going to get a lot of weird aspects of it. So cool. I think I don't know if our production's ready, but we can certainly jump into humans versus Probots whenever they are, because I didn't get a timer. Maybe they'll give us a 30 seconds, like a 10 seconds.
They just changed the name of the bot we're playing first, so there's a 30-second timer. So we'll see which one this is. We now have potentially new bot versus tier. New bot being, of course, a person. So we'll see who that is. Tier I don't know what tier has a lot of builds in it. So whatever it does against humans. Okay, now we've changed to 2 minutes.
All right, so we'll kill time a little bit.
Yeah. So some of them definitely will switch their build to kind of be cheesy versus humans. Some of them will change it, like you said.
I think did I just lose Endersword? Endersword just blinked out of existence, so I will have to keep it. He was talking, and then disappeared. So while we wait, so what he was saying or going on to was tier can be a tricky bot because he has multiple. Oh, I think he's back. We'll see if he's Okay, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, you're right. I hear you. It
didn't even stop on my end, but I just refreshed it. Yeah.
Okay, you're here. But we're talking about tier, multi builds and against humans.
I have a feeling that he's going to try something cheesy against this unsuspecting human.
Unsuspecting. So again, we do have various skill levels, and since I guess we don't have to even give it. We'll say it's Endershort. You're going to be playing tier first.
Yeah.
And what would you rank yourself? Is it diamond?
I'm probably still diamond.
Okay.
Yeah, probably like a diamond 1 or 2 range these days.
Okay. Cool. So.
But you'll be able to see in this. I was quite rusty with some of the control.
Oh, I mean, that's good.
It works. Well, I found out early one thing that you got to do when you're setting this up, and this was a fresh install, whereas before I think I've had it set up right. It copied the default hotkeys, which I usually set up. So there's a couple times maybe you'll see a bit of a misclick. That will be fairly obvious what I was trying to do versus what it did. But you'll
what
see.
You're saying is you gave the bot handicap.
I gave the bot a little bit of an advantage, but
fair enough.
But then we'll see if it worked out anyway.
Okay, well, we'll find out. Let's jump into.
Oh no, they added a minute. They added a minute. Yeah.
Oh man, and it feels weird being on the other side.
I had
Normally,
another 20 seconds.
oh my goodness. Usually when I'm on the other side, I can hear what's going on and know what's happening. But now I guess this must be, I get to be here on this side of where I'm like, what's going on back there? Is it on fire? Are things on fire? Well, we could talk a little bit about some of the other people who are playing and some of the other bots in here. So Caninana is playing against a diamond player. Then we have Micro Machine up against a Grandmaster. Eris up against another Grandmaster, and then Sharkbot against a pro player.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see. We're starting to stack the deck against the bots. There were days when we did. I mean, I can't find a bronze player anymore. But there were days where we tried to do. I think the very first time we did this, when we did it at Meltdown Live in Toronto, we had. I don't know if we had a bronze, but we at least had like silver, gold, platinum, and then me, and then we had Maru there, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was like, and maybe it is. Maybe it's the state of the game, and bronze players are hard to come by. But the average level of players playing these bots is indeed platinum. Like that's just that's like the starting point right now. Like I don't know if that's fortunate or unfortunate. I don't know. Maybe just these bots also attract the level of platinum. I did get asked a bit in some of the comments, like what level should I be to play these bots? And I did say these bots are approximately platinum. So maybe that's just attracting a certain type of people who is just
possible. I do kind of wonder. I know that like people that get on now and try and drop their own rank, it takes a long time to get to bronze if you were to intentionally lose. Like it's hard to be bronze at this point. But yeah. Which always struck me as weird, given that the player base like kind of diminishes over time. Originally, all the leagues were like percentile based, but it seems like it probably can't be that anymore because like 2% of players is just way less people. So I think it's probably all skewed more a lot to the top end. I don't know if there's any of those sites anymore. There used to be like
stats. Like, do we know how many players are active in StarCraft?
There used to be like the neos.kr. But I think that's gone now. Yeah, it's gone. There's ranked for the win. Is that still up?
I would be so shocked because the APM is the
API.
API has been out of service for several years now. So I would be so surprised.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, well, we had. There's a comment from a year ago. Ranked for the win taken down. Okay, there's one called SC2 Pulse that still exists.
All right, so actually we're ready. Let's jump into the first game. Tier versus Endersword.
Tier.
Ooh. This is a proxy? Looks like a proxy.
It does look like a proxy. So you can see from the damage SCV, I had sent it a probe. He actually, I didn't see it at the time, but he actually left his own proxy to attack me. And so I go back to finish the job. But he should win that fight. But delay on the... So, yeah, I didn't know this at the time, but Tier does not get that second SCV to finish the barracks. It looks like he's got another one coming.
I mean, at this stage here, were you discovering you had like trouble with your hotkeys, or were you just sailing along?
Not so much yet. When you initially started, because it was the first game I played, you have to set your screen. It will open in windowed mode, so you can't drag your view at all. So you have to like change it, set it to full screen, and so you lose a little bit at the start of it, getting set up. But I think now I'm reasonably good to go. But like I said, kind of wrong set of hotkeys, but at least fine.
Oh well. So where are we going here? Are we going like Zealot Rush? What are you just gonna?
Well, given that I saw the proxy now, it was not die to Marauders. So yeah, basically went for the 3. I had a 2 gateway opening there, added the 3rd one, and then threw down the Forge here with the idea of adding on a shield battery, which I do now, and then got a sentry out.
I mean, anyone unsuspecting, this actually could be pretty devastating.
Yeah, if I didn't see it, it dragged me to it. So yeah, their sentry trap at least one of the Marauders. Even with the knowledge, 3 Marauders coming up against that could still be
pretty brutal.
It'd still be a problem before the shield battery's dead.
I wonder, that's odd that they didn't do any micro right there early on the Zealots. Instead, they went trying to target the Sentry, was it? It looked like they tried to target the Sentry and...
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, they...
Let's finish one off.
No, the Stalker was this.
Yeah. But yeah, you can see there, like, I think, had the initial 3 come up, 1 and you just not known at all, that definitely could be pretty devastating. But yeah, now that the battery is there, it's probably pretty stable.
Oh, this is a pretty held down game right now.
Yeah.
For those of you in the chat, I'm going to start up a poll any second ago. Make sure you vote. Who do you want? The humans versus the Probots. Who do you think going to win? This is looking pretty good, though, for Team Humanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, the location of it. So I had just sent out a probe to scout at the start. It seems like, and I couldn't, like, obviously see the buildings at the time, but it seems like it must have pulled an SCV off the constructive building to attack my probe. Because I didn't initiate it. It came out of the fog of war to hit me.
Oh, odd behavior. Sometimes it'd be good if we had some of the bot officers to explain like what was going on here and what they were thinking.
Yeah, it may not have started the building at the time it did that or something, but so that was a misclick. that was supposed to be attack move, but it's mapped to my my force field key somehow.
Best force field ever.
Yeah.
I mean, does he? I wonder if he's gonna. Well, I guess you'll know more than other ones. Like he's gonna transition. But you're not building anything behind this.
Yeah, not really. I did throw down, I think, a robo by now, but yeah, there's not a lot, and like, yeah, it's more just okay, go this out.
You're okay. You're pretty confident. Yeah, this is you got this. You got this.
Yeah. And then,
well, I think we can very confidently say that Humanity takes us, unless I mean,
unless
I don't
he
think
built anything back. I don't know if he built anything. He is trying to transition out of it, but there's not really much being built.
Did he get a? You didn't know he didn't get a. Oh, he's building an expansion now, but it's a little late.
Yeah,
that will not save him. Okay, well, I'll call game 1, and I think this is a safe and healthy game 1 to Team Humanity.
Indeed.
It's funny thinking about it's being on that panel yesterday. I feel like out of all the bot makers, we were kind of behind, quote unquote, in terms of our custom bots against humans.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of the other bot authors have had like further success against their pro player, their pro scenes, especially the Smash one. I think for me, it seems like it made a lot of progress against human players, and that could just be the nature of the game.
I think it is because we've talked about this in the past, but the options of what happens in your game. So in Smash, you're just on one stage.
Yeah.
And if you randomly hit buttons, it will do things. So you cannot avoid learning. Like everything you do is valid in some way. You can run off the platform, you can hit your attacks, you can move, you can whatever. Everything you do is a valid input. And even the same in more like Trackmania or something like that. You just go forward. Everything you do is some sort of progress that will have a result. In StarCraft, if you begin the game with no guidance, no guardrails, whatever, and you hit random things, like nothing will happen. Like nothing of any forward progress will happen whatsoever, because it's so deliberate to even build like your first probe or your first, like where to put the camera, like things like that. So there's not anything that kind of funnels you towards the right decision.
Well, the core thing to take away from yesterday is that supervised learning is the way, like it is the key. Like supervised learning, even with the other bots, is that they say like supervised learning was exactly what was necessary to.
I think it is, which is always, to me, is a bit the shame, because while supervised learning, when you start with so many opening options, supervised learning is definitely how you like have to do it. However, it's that kind of kills what I think is one of the cooler parts of AI, which is that it could do anything. And the point is I want to see if it does something that no humans ever even conceived of. And if it's supervised learning based, it won't. That's the thing, because it starts with the assumption of like, here's what people do. And so it will at least go down the path of like, well, here's what people do. Whereas for something like the Pokemon ones or whatever isn't necessarily like, if it's not learning from the past activity, it's more just learning from reward behavior.
Well, the rewards help shape what it, you know what, and we just got told that we're ready. Let's jump into the next game and we'll talk a little bit more.
Caninana.
Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, no, it was so yeah, shaping the rewards was super fascinating to talk about. Yesterday I was talking about shaping the rewards and how reward shaping can be a big deal on the results you get. So big takeaway, supervised learning, really making the game smaller is what I took away as well. Is making the game smaller is like if you're starting out, making the game easier and accessible by cutting out certain parts of it is ideal.
Yeah, exactly. And making it into subcategories. Like obviously in something like Pokemon, the fight with a Pokemon is like a totally distinct different thing from like the overworld map. So like, that could be two different things. In StarCraft, you see layers of how it views the map and units on it and things like that. So each layer has different information. So instead of trying to have like a single view that has like, basically it sees things as blocks and like, you'd need like 32 different colors to tell things what they are. It's more like 12 layers of just 1 and 0, pretty much.
So just to give people Legend is our human player, and they are a diamond player. They are a diamond player. So
going for the expand there with a bit of a wall off.
And I feel like this is the threshold of where you're going to find players are going to reach an equilibrium of skill versus the bots, because if you don't, I think personally, if you don't finish these bots off in the first 5 minutes and you're diamond, you might be in trouble.
Yeah, they can get pretty out of control, especially if they're a economic expansion sort of bot.
Yeah, which Caninana can be.
Yeah.
So I would say for sure that we might be in for a tough one for Legend, but I can't say that for a fact. Maybe he, because if you let Caninana, I think, do what it wants without keeping it in check, it'll snowball. Like you can think about snowballing in MOBAs a lot, where that kind of applies to these bots, that if they get their tentacles across the map and they're expanding, it becomes pretty fed. It's going to roll over you, because even though you as a player may have a lot stronger mechanics, the ability to tax your attention will become overwhelming.
Yeah, that's the big key. Just that the bot can operate in many, many different places at once and operate perfectly, basically. And you'll see that in a lot of our bot games, that you'll end up with a huge line of army across the map, and it's controlling all that well, whereas you as a person can't even see that all at the same time, let alone control it all properly.
And for a Diamond player, that's when it becomes hard because your map awareness is not as strong as, say, a Grandmaster player or even that. And so a bot that is being able to essentially attack you from all directions at once while you're trying to hold them down is rough. It's actually really tough to have to manage that at the same time. That's really difficult.
Yeah, it can be tough. I wonder what Ketrock would say if he was here.
only Ketrock was here. Oh, but it is. Hark! Is that Ketrock?
I think we have a Ketrock. We're on game number 2 here of the human. You missed my masterpiece, of course, against Tyr, which is a pretty kind of lame game because I just got him proxying. But yeah. But here we've got Legend, who is a Diamond player, up against Caninana. And he's going for the economics, so both of them are going up to 3 bases here, and he is throwing out an Oracle. There's a Spore already coming down. First Oracle poked in and got 4 kills. Yeah. I think Drekken had said before, I think he took speed mining out.
Yes.
For the real-time versus players. He was having trouble, I guess, with it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And what Ratosh said, because it's his first time using it, it would cause. He was worried it's going to cause chaos.
Yeah. See that. So the revelation on the home here, but he's perfectly aware of where things are. But there's Spore and a bunch of queens kind of keeping him at it. Yeah. Not quite as aggressively, but now getting to a decent amount with 51 workers, and it looks like Zealot Charge is coming for Legend, and also for High Templar.
You would never know that Overseers are faster than Observers,
yeah.
by how he was tracking that one.
Indeed. Okay, it looks. I think he's going for an Archon drop play here. He's got a War Prism coming out with 2 Archons being morphed in.
Yeah, so a couple Oracles here. Not going to be able to do much against that Overseer, but they do spot the
did that freeze?
Creep Tumors.
Yeah.
So Creep Tumors probably being taken down with the Observer Oracle combo at the moment right now. And here comes a nice little push out with a healthy amount of Zealots.
Army coming across, a 4th base coming down for Caninana up front. He gets onto the edge of creep, and as he wanders on, we'll see what the response is. Army supplies are relatively similar, but for early game army, a bunch of Zealots and Archons are usually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Roaches are pretty good against both of those units, and you know, there's always the dynamic of Burrow, which is a big deal, actually.
Good force fields there, I think. Make it hard to get a pulse around.
Yeah,
and he'll actually
the force base there as well.
Take that off and try and get out. May make sense.
Yeah, taking some damage trying to get out.
Don't want an Archon trap. Yeah.
It's funny, I don't think he was dodging the force fields, but
yeah,
he did decide to attack as soon as the force fields went down, which was maybe a convenient timing, or maybe something really well coded into Caninana that I don't know about.
So I don't think enough Zealots or anything here quite yet to engage this. He does have charge.
Yeah, Caninana's hesitant though. He could be like kind of kiting this a little bit if he wanted to.
Yeah.
There's
I
nothing
think he doesn't
like
want to get off creep.
Yeah, well, I don't think he wants to engage. I think he's just keeping tabs on army. Every time the results move forward, he moves back. And I think this is actually a fight he could take if he wanted to. Legend wisely pulling back. Although now it's getting to the point where with that last weapon of Zealots, it might be a little closer.
It's pretty big now. 3 Archons again. And yeah, you probably could engage this. Particularly Caninana can't push in with this. He's going to want to... It looks like he doesn't want to. He wants to get on the border of it. Now going up to Infestor, which I think is potentially going to help. Like if he could delay to get a few of those out with energy.
Yeah, I mean, Caninana with Infestors is it's pretty
good.
Top tier level, yeah.
Yeah, Immortal is out in front joining. Here comes the Zealot charge in. Roach is pulling back. They kind of got split up here, but yeah, you can see just how well he pulls back. That he can break this apart.
That basic, attack back up is so nice versus melee units.
Yeah.
Especially when it's individually done by each roach here. Now, no burrow's going to happen because everything is revelated.
Yeah.
Although, looks like a little bit of burrow anyways. I guess if you're out of attacking, if you're in a safe spot, you might as well burrow and retreat. With burrow move, just to get the... Yeah. Little known fact, they actually regenerate faster than embedded vac heals, so it's quite a healthy healing rate,
3 Immortals with the army now. That's pretty decent at shutting this down, even without the massive Zealot cover, and he's recovering a number of those. Overall, relatively even there in terms of resources trading off, like not totally one-sided, and more Archons coming in. It does help.
Yeah, I mean, this is like kind of the composition I like to use as Protoss since I don't know how to play the race. It's just a strong combo that you can kind of move around. Charge lots, Archons, and Immortals.
Yeah.
It does lack in the splash damage a little bit, but...
Yeah, you have to, you kind of got to get close to take advantage of it. Neuroparasite almost done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, soon there'll be 3 Immortals in Caninana's army.
Yeah. Exactly, or a bunch of Archons. Either way it goes, probably the Archons create probably more chaos. Here, splitting the army up here, the Roaches coming to the back part. There are enough Immortals to at least stall out. He will just save one in the front. Yeah,
that was nice by Caninana. He forced half the army to chase just like a handful of Roaches, which allowed the bulk of his army to go in and fight the other half. Finishing off that Immortal would have been nice, though. I think
definitely.
It's on low health.
That's a big he got it here. He's kind of ending up with the army because of just the way the map is shaped, splitting up. But then when they come back, it's causing problems for Legend because now he's coming down theoretically 4 different pathways.
Yes, exactly.
And the biggest part of the army is now up north again.
It's hard. I mean, like, bots don't F2, so there's literally 4 armies all ready to poke in at a moment's notice, and Legend is trying to F2 his army to deal with all of them.
Both are pretty good, almost 120 army supply here. Caninana is basically maxed out.
Yeah, Roach actually going in deep, so there's gonna be looks like some Burrow Roach harasses on the table. So it's well, maybe that wasn't intended. No,
I think he just ended up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Army is moving out across the top. Is he looking to clear out and maybe take this space, or again a chunk of the army left behind? There is a neural on the Archon, which goes on offensive mode. He may be better off just finishing that off.
Yeah, was able to take down a couple Zealots with it though, which is nice. However,
shield. Oh, he killed. He killed it after he got it back.
I love it.
Yeah. Because that would have just regenerated all its shields. Archon's notoriously shield heavy. Nice drop here, I guess, or warp in. But a little bit of static defense. Just that one spine crawler definitely helping out here as it gets transfused a lot. This up, another big warp in, but he's going to take some damage doing that. And he will push across as it's going. There, another nice neural from behind.
Yeah, Queen's made it back just in time to transfuse that spine back to full. This does give some breathing room to Legend on his side of the map, as his constant roach pressure on his third and fourth is pulled back to deal with the zealots.
That is a ton of immortals.
That is a lot of immortals, you're right. Now we do know that Caninana will hit Broodlords at some point. Or at least a splash them. Oh my gosh, that's a nice.
Oh, if he didn't, but yeah, he needed to commit to that.
I feel like that's the one thing that every bot has is like the lack of commitment.
Oh, ridiculous fungal right on the core of all the immortals, but obviously not enough to really damage them too much.
Handful of shield damage.
Base does fall, and yeah, he's again got to commit to this neural from the back on one immortal, second immortal.
Well, that's going to be really nice.
Yeah.
Immortals are really good at killing Stalkers and Immortals.
Yeah.
All the Archons are down, so now the Zerglings are going to do really well. Although I don't think there's any Zerglings remaining. And yeah. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. I didn't know that dynamic. What happens if you recall a unit that's knurled?
Yeah.
Will it go back or not? And it does. And for a split second, the spine from the Infestor goes all the way across the entire map.
Yeah, I've seen that definitely happen before. There are Broodlords out on the map here now. It looks like he's morphing in. Is that no, that's Changeling or something. Yeah, so one more at least coming in. Trying to rebuild the base. Caninana is pushing across, but this is just lanes.
Which is fine against that army, actually. If you commit, just take the fight.
And I think he wants to maybe clear up some extra supply too, so I think that was a good engage for that.
Yeah. Killing gas units with mineral units is really good. Especially if you got the crackling upgrade, which... I don't even know what the upgrade looks like if you...
Yeah, I would know it if I see it, but I can't remember.
There it is.
I do like that we all... Yeah, that one.
It does. Bot authors do love to get every single upgrade that exists, so it would shock me if you didn't have it.
Crackling's one of those ones that I have no idea what it's actually called. I want to say like
over the lip.
Yeah,
I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is the sort of army that Broodlords dominate, though. The Immortal Archon Zealot, and just because like none of it has good range anti-air.
Yeah, and so little of this shoots up even at this point. There's a big warp in a Stalkers though. But yeah, not going to do good against the ground stuff. Legend has rebuilt army at least, but yeah, here comes the Broodlords.
The biggest deal is during all this time there was no fourth base put up by Legend, so Legend's in dire straits at this moment. And Caninana's got like doing very well on his 7-8 bases, whatever he has on his side of the map.
Yeah, I think he creeped up the one on the top that I think Legend has wanted to take a couple of times, and can't quite clear the creep out completely.
It's kiting by these Broodlords. I wonder if how up to date. We're on the we're on LE map, so these Broodlords are completely up to date in terms of their mobility and whatnot.
Neural from behind again on one of these Immortals. And Broodlords from the side, Roaches from the front. Not a good situation for the Immortals.
Yeah.
And GG is called.
Yeah. Well done, Caninana.
Yeah, so just shows the sheer like economy that you could get up to on this. And yeah, again, the control kind of defending that third from a central location, but you've literally got 4 avenues in to try and block it off. And there are a couple cases that exactly that happened, where half the army is trying to chase the one on the top and you kind of get backstabbed. And then even a few cases where somebody coming from that lower path, a random roach or something wanders into the natural and you have to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, that was the winning move by Caninana, I believe. Economically, Legend was in a really good spot getting his third base up sooner.
Yeah.
But that 4-pronged threat of Caninana that just kept Legend sitting on 3 bases.
Yeah.
Well, Caninana got to go up to his late game tech, which he loves, while grabbing a 4th and a 5th and a 6th base. Yeah, that was devastating for Legend.
Yeah, indeed. But good effort there, and good for submitting a replay with a real game, as some people often don't do. But you can tell that is. So we've got the bots and humans at 1-1 at the moment. But now we're really stepping up. So we had me and Legend both as diamond players, but now we're jumping into a couple of GMs. So it is going to be against Micro Machine, and we'll find out who this is when we hop in. Micro Machine is traditionally one of the ones that humans can have trouble with. It's like pretty aggressive. It does a lot of like things that can be evasive to a human, like Reapers, Cyclones, Speed Banshees, things like that can be hard for a human to like really track down.
Yeah, and it's pretty bug proof when it comes to playing in real time.
Yeah,
Micro Machines always played on every single game frame, even against other bots, and a lot of the issues of trying to play on every frame is shared with trying to play in real time. So by doing that, he solved like 90% of the real time issues. So yeah, sometimes you'll see a bot like maybe Tier we saw in game 1, I'm not sure, but like just has issues with pathing or you know, building multiple structures or not mining correctly, things like that. But yeah, this will be good. Like Machine puts on a lot of pressure. He's pretty cheese proof. He's a good bot to face humans with.
Yeah, he can get pretty economically big. He always continues to transition. I think one thing humans we've seen in the past have a tendency to do, and I even did in the first game, like if you're being cheesed, like stabilize and then kind of push out after. Micro Machine is always transitioning. So if you get stuck in like, well, stabilize first and then I'll go, by the time you try and go, he's on to the next part of what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I feel like his greatest strength is putting on constant pressure, but that's also his weakness. If you get ahead of Micro Machine,
exactly.
Micro Machine won't like sit back and hunker up and build up a big army. He'll keep pressuring with like very tiny army, which will kind of hurt him a bit.
I know he'll occasionally proxy versus humans too. So depending on the race and stuff, let's see what this is as we hop into game number 3.
Micro Machine.
And it looks like he's positioning things potentially to trap in Reapers or something.
Yeah. Actually, a bot author himself. I'm not sure if he has a bot on the main ladder, but we have a little micro ladder as well, like a little micro arena.
Yeah.
And I think he's the #1 bot on that ladder. So, pretty cool. Yeah. I hope I'm not getting mixed up with someone else.
Yeah, I think
there's a 5% chance everything I said is completely wrong.
Either way. Yeah, up here, Micro Machine is walling off here as the probe is trying to come in. He even pulled off an SCV to finish the wall, and then a second SCV came. So,
I like it.
Knowing the timing there.
But can he bounce SCVs? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah.
He needs to get lucky.
Almost didn't quite get to safety. No.
Luckily, this is so close to done, it's very likely the SCV will not jump to the other side.
Yeah.
So a really quick wall off. I guess so there's a cheese on the ladder where you send one probe out early to block the wall off, and then you do the giant probe rush afterwards.
Yeah.
So maybe like just the single probe Micro Machine considers a massive threat.
Quite possible.
Gotta get the emergency wall. Obviously, you don't want to be building your second depot that early, though, because it's unnecessary supply.
Reaper's going around taking a look for things. The probe actually going off that tower. Won't see him pass by, but he's checking every corner.
Probe killed a critter? I'm trying to figure out what that blood was.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no way there's an SCV out there.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing. I actually tried to code that into my bot.
Oh yeah, the auto. Yeah.
If you spam click a critter, the critter dies. Yeah. The problem is, between each game frame, your bot is also spamming 100 different things, so you have to turn off everything else to spam click.
Focus, yeah.
Yeah, not worth it just for a meme.
So Adept coming up, wall does raise here, so he won't be able to get in. The Marines are pulled back to a safe distance, so the one pops out right in front of him. But looking pretty decent so far, and yeah, Micro Machine hasn't really gone on the offense. He wants to land, but the Adept is gonna try and block that, and a Marine will go down.
Yeah, very nice. I think an Adept can probably take out even 2 Marines before and still be able to retreat in time. But yeah, keeping all hit points on the Adept is also important if you're going to be using it as a scout. You usually only want to lose that shield energy. Reaper actually getting pushed into a corner here. I don't think there's a jump there, so he's going to have to move. Ooh, just in time.
Yeah, we'll escape. Grenade behind just in case.
Yep. Yeah, this is going to be a tough task for Mech Machine. I don't think Cognite's ever lost to one of our bots, or at least not that we know of.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So, TVP is also a tougher matchup for bots, as we're not as strong with like the bio sort of play, and TVP is all about playing bio.
Yeah, he's getting blinked too, which is often a key against bots in general, and in particular Micro Machines, since he can go into air stuff, and it's often about just chasing down units. And so being able to blink on something is something that, one, a lot of bots don't have to deal with, like selective forward blinks. They just kind of know this is the point I retreat, so that if you blink on them, you can finish it off. And that's true whether it's a Cyclone, a Banshee, a battle cruiser that Micro Machine tries to get to, anything like that.
Yeah, it can really mess with your bot. You usually just try to stay out of attack range, but at any point in time, stalkers can be, instantly right on top of you. So it's hard to plan that with your micro.
Yeah, and here he blinked back to save 2 of them. It looked like he had moved commanded in initially and lost 1, but yeah, mostly staying alive. And not hugely like, there's no tank or anything supporting this.
Yeah, high ground tank right now just gotta show up.
Okay.
Yeah, he was definitely pushing out too far, especially without stimmed complete. You don't want to lose either of those Marauders. They're so key to this defense.
Oh, where is the tank? Not moving there, maybe?
Yeah, that's even double worse. He was going to get caught no matter what because of the Warp Prism, but the fact that it didn't get some Siege Blasts off is a big deal. SCVs are going to have to die in defending here. These ones didn't have to, but they're choosing to.
They did. Yeah. Did decide to do that. Yeah, some like hull damage across these stalkers still relatively healthy. There, the Viking actually may help. If it had been able to pick off the Warp Prism, then it kind of turns us off for a bit, but it does survive. They'll probably repair that up and try and take another poke again, but obviously stalkers are pretty good at defending it.
Yeah, so maybe the orbital survives. Actually, no, it doesn't. Not on that angle of retreat. They retreated towards the tanks, so there's a small chance, but yeah, so this is going to be... Micro Machine will stay alive for a while. He's got a couple high ground siege tanks. It's quite strong. 3 Marauders is pretty strong. Even this Viking ends up picking off the Warp Prism, which is a big deal.
Yeah, I think there may have been a couple units still in it too. But yeah, now the ground force is dying.
Yeah, fighting outside the range of the tank is losing everything.
Yeah, Cognate going up to 3 bases on his own side of the map. So even if this is held, now that the reinforcements aren't there, hard to re-establish the natural.
I think one common issue I see in bots with their workers is like they're either mining, like they're in a mining mode, or they get flipped to a defense mode, like we're under attack, we need to fight. But I think rather than flipping them into like this independent defense mode, you should actually have them join your army. like
Right. Yeah.
join, like create an army object for these SCVs, and that way when your army decides, hey, I need to retreat, then your SCVs will go and retreat with them.
Yeah.
That would always in the, because SCVs are actually extremely strong defensively with bots. Just the fact that you can mineral lock between attacks means you can be super stacked. We've seen in the past where like 12 Zerglings will come fight like 15 drones, and the drones will absolutely slaughter them. It's like, oh, I didn't know that was possible. But it's one of those spots. Okay, tanks decide to try to move out to take the natural, which is the right choice, but you know, Cognite's unfortunately just too far ahead for Micro Machine here.
Yeah, the Zealot Warping was interesting. There's nothing to defend the Warp Prism, so it goes down again. But so there will be a little bit of breathing room, but yeah, he's so far behind at this point. And he's not showing a sign of like re-establishing that natural.
Yeah, when you're this far behind, you probably want to push out.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing you might have in your advantage is army size, but obviously this army size is, what, 7 units? So,
Yeah. Pretty much.
You know, if you get a good tank position and you got reinforcements coming across the map, maybe. Maybe. But, yeah, this looks...
I think that is
desperate.
a decent position.
Correct,
It's just
but
there's
desperate.
Not a lot there. Yeah, the 2 landed Vikings. And he's going to move a tank again right when he didn't want to. And we can just plunk on. Like he's trying to get off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, cleaning that up.
Still decent micro out of
yeah.
Micro Machine there. I mean, he couldn't do much of those units, but
Yeah.
I was kind of looking for mistakes or looking for improvements, and it's like, yeah, that's probably as best he could have done with that sort of fight.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just not enough here. Again, tank on the high ground, but yeah.
He finally got the money to afford another command center, but it's not going to be. At least he'll get that money back, but I think this might actually be the end of the game.
Yeah, I don't
This
think
isn't about denying the natural anymore. This is about just going in for the kill.
Yeah, Zealots now in the main in the mineral line itself. Nothing to stop them. And yeah, his only thing that really kind of got him out of it was the ability to kill off the warp prisms, or else the pressure never would have stopped. But now there's just so much here. We'll take it. So good game from Cognite. And yeah, that helped a tiny bit. But yeah, I think a couple times when there was just a move in, Micro Machine was caught with like a tank unsieging, moving a tiny bit. I don't think would have made a giant difference. One thing that may have, there was one point where he got a warp prism down before the natural had even died. The warp prism was down to like 1 shot left and lived. Had he been able to shut off the reinforcements right then, maybe could have, you know, at least got more economy going.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. I think the biggest key is probably the blink. Blink in the hands of a grandmaster. You know, Blink is already a nightmare for his bots, and then you put that together with really good decision making and army movements, and yeah, that first attack was just too much for Micro Machine. Like I was saying, Micro Machine, you know, if he gets ahead or stays even, he can be like a nightmare to deal with. But if you're behind an army supply, he just kind of bleeds out units, which we saw there.
Yes,
but,
very
yeah,
true.
that was a fun match to watch, however.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. Well done, Cognite.
Indeed. So who we got next? So the humans up 2-1 at the moment, and with another Grandmaster coming. Not sure that that's going to change, but we'll see. So we've got who left? Eris and we did tier. Is Ketrak in this time?
No.
Okay. I forget who the 5th one is, but we'll Sharkbot, of course. Yeah.
I can't even get my bot functioning on the ladder right now. So,
okay. So yeah, I think this next one is Eris versus a GM, and then we've got Secret Pro Player against Sharkbot, I think, at the end.
Secret Pro.
Yeah, don't know. We'll see.
Micro Machine.
And the top left, our number 1 or number 2 bot in the ladder at this moment is Eris. So
my name also got added to Minecraft like 15 years after I made it. The Ender Sword is now a thing in Minecraft.
What's the reference of that name actually?
It was originally just based on Ender's Game, but I originally made it in an MMO EverQuest, and so I had everything was Ender something, but my first character was Ender's Sword, which was my warrior, and then I had like Ender's Mage and Ender's, like I had various things. But then when Blizzard started StarCraft 2, do you remember at the beginning? It simply asked for your name, and a lot of people wrote just their real name, like Doug or whatever. I put what was my account name, but was never intended to be like my name, and then you couldn't change it for like a year. So that's just what I went with.
Yeah. I messed that up once too, and ended up barcoding my Hearthstone account instead of my StarCraft 2 one.
Nice.
All right, so looks like we got a gateway expand out of Cobblestone here.
Indeed.
Let's go as a gateway gas nexus. Yeah, it's pretty greedy. Eris will let him away with it.
Yeah, I think you can definitely with Eris. Eris will just be greedy on her own side of the map there. Yeah, if you can't punish them, join them.
So my name Ketrock, and just going to age myself here, actually came from. So for those of you who don't know, there used to be these games that were like MMORPGs that were like even bigger and more complex than World of Warcraft years and years ago, but they're all text. They're called MUDs.
MUDs. I played a lot. Yeah.
I played one of those, and I always liked the name Rocket, so that's the name I used. And then when I was like halfway leveled up, they decided that my name wasn't role play enough. So I just swapped the syllables and became Ketrock.
Nice.
It's like you can't be Rocket. It's like it's already approved by the other mod or whatever.
Nice. Yeah, I love those. I used to. Yeah, Muds and Mushes. And like it was the type of game world, depending how it was set, you could like code new things in the game. Like you could create new rooms and create new objects and create new interactables that other people could then use. So that was.
Yeah, the fact that they had no graphical element meant you could. The coding of the games got like so complex. It's like so crazy.
Yeah, you could make. I played a Star Wars based one for a long time, just called Star Wars Mush, and you could code a Star Destroyer. So it's originally like an object you could just hold, but then you could put like all these rooms in it until it was this full thing, and then send it into the space, whatever. And there was like a combat simulator. It was all this stuff, but yeah, it was all very text-based, role-play based, whatever. Those were fun.
It feels like you're like one of those hackers from the Matrix too, where you first join in and it's just like all this scrolling text and you don't know what the hell anything is, and then later on it all becomes a custom. You just you see all this text and it just means things in your head. You can just graphically see it all.
Yeah, yeah. Too, you could eventually make scripts too to like to get from one. It's one of those things you type like east, west, north, south, open door, like whatever it is. So to get from one place to another, you could just write a script that like spammed 64 characters, and you would like instantly like teleport across the world.
Yeah, that was like my first voyage into programming. Is I wrote little scripts to like make certain actions more handy for me.
Yeah,
almost like macros, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
But decision-based macros. Probably not allowed in the game. I don't know. It seems like nowadays it seems like that's probably cheating.
Yeah, there were no rules back then. We were just dealing with the concept of online gaming.
Okay, actually, this immortal drop is trouble for Eris here.
Yeah, he doesn't really have much
couple of queens. He's gonna be able to keep these drones alive fairly well, although they do get one shot by the immortals. So if they fire at the same time, so you may not get them grow in time. With the observer arriving, these drones do have to run away. What's on the production tab? I'm seeing more drones on the production tab. That cannot be right.
He is getting some lings too, but it's going to be a little bit of a problem unless he can group them up well.
We've seen this with Eris before. Like, he gets so good on the ladder that there's no real reason to work on it or improve it, and then he faces humans, and then all of a sudden you see like these flaws. It's like, oh, it's like no bot's ever done this to me before. So.
Indeed. Okay, here comes the attempted attack here.
Yeah, these lings I would have loved to have seen them out, you know, 30 seconds ago.
Indeed.
Because it's just two immortals. They can't do anything against lings per se.
The barrier there, the timing of that coming back. He's left with like 10 hit points left. All right.
Oh, you got the auto barrier to save it? Oh,
yeah. It was like, so he's got one left. The other one did eventually die. Yeah. That's hard. I think bots are bad at like things that don't die to attrition well.
Yeah.
Because they just attack in little spurts. Like if that was just a group of Marines, you'd get one, you'd get two, you'd get three. But when it's immortals like that, they just survive. Well, you can't attack 4 lings at a time. It just literally does nothing.
Yeah, I mean, decisions in general, bots do not excel at. So if I can just always be macroing and building up units and doing attacks, like that's where the bots thrive. You know, this like, oh, there's an attack coming in, I need to completely change up my production and build only this type of unit, and then I need to attack in this sort of way. I can't trickle in, I need to build, like all that stuff is often, you know, something a bot won't be doing well.
Eris is, however, you know, going up to 5 bases. There's now a bunch of lings out, there's a bunch of hydras out. They're prioritizing attacking rocks for a while, but eventually they'll pay attention to this happening.
Yep, the hydras are nice. They'll not only be able to deal with the immortals pretty well, but they might be able to finally deal with that pesky warp prism at some point.
Indeed. Well, come in the base here from the back. Luckily, there's only one of these now. He's got more built on the other side, but yeah, shield better here to defend against the small ling run by.
Yeah, but the lings are doing a good job getting a lot of hits in, so that battery's going to get drained. There it goes. Now all these gas probes are going to go down.
Yeah, and again, it's taxing the attention. Like, controlling that drop mortal, like, takes a lot of attention. He's got these ones at the front here, too.
Yeah, and something in the main base as well.
I think the main base is the other one with the single immortal. Pull that across.
Taking a little bit of hull damage on that. That's small gains for Eris. I mean, what Eris does have going for him is his economy just never stopped. You know, when you're building drones, when you're supposed to be making lings, like, at least you're getting more drones. So, you know, in surviving the attack eventually, he still was in a decent economic spot, even though the units lost tablet really bad.
Is this one of these attempts again? It may be to mono battle. I guess the War Prism doesn't count, but he's only building immortals.
Is this the same player? Is he the mono?
Is it him that did the sentry last? I forget if it was the same, but but I get the sense that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, it was kind of weird seeing 7 immortals at that establishing that new base. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, he's building 4 more, and there's not been anything else, even adding another robo.
I would love to see -0 come back to the scene. Yeah. Even if he doesn't want to play against other bots competitively, I'd love to see him against humans.
Yeah.
Because the way his he had these tables that really decided, like, it really made you build the right composition against what you're up against.
Yeah.
And, you know, it would completely shut down this mono battle shenanigans, even in the hands of a GM player. However, with that said, I mean, if he's sticking on just Immortal Prism, I think he's in rough shape right now. Because eventually this is going to be too much for him.
It is tough, and like lurkers coming out. The infestors are going to be interesting here too, as of course he could grab those. He could even grab the Warp Prisms themselves. Shut it down.
Oh, Eris is just like, forget it. I'm going across the map here.
Yeah, might make sense. These are getting some work done. If he's doing that, he's got to be decisive with it. He loves attacking rocks.
Okay, he's going to attack where all the immortals are. Which I guess is fine, because he's got Zerglings. Got in deep, which I like. So, he did get some decent surface area.
Investors in behind.
Probably a shield battery over. Oh no, there's no shield battery overcharge anymore. We're on the latest patch. So the bots don't know they're on the latest patch. So we won't be seeing any energy overcharge out of our bots, and they won't know the prices of things. But they still should be able to play okay.
Yeah, does hold that fairly well. Like that could have been a lot worse for sure. But in the meantime, in doing so, he's kind of Eris has cleaned his side of the map. Like the harassment isn't happening, as he had to divert attention to this.
Yeah, looks like he lost a hatchery in the process at 9 o'clock. So, and I saw him lose at least like 3 or 4 gas geysers as well. So,
yeah, definitely. They haven't been rebuilt at the natural yet. They're a nice fungal in the middle. But he's going to have to take a good attack. This is a lot of immortals.
Remember if this is correct or not, but I think you can't pick up a unit that's fungal.
That sounds right. Yeah.
I know you can't like teleport it. So fungal is like pretty good at shutting down the War Prism micro, we'll say. Most Protoss players at a high level are really good at popping immortals in and out of prisms.
So he's got, like, the Lings keep going in without the rest of it, which they still did a good job here. Like, everything is getting hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, the rest kind of comes in from the back. There's another fungal that actually may end a couple of these.
Gosh, just 2 immortals on just like one more hit from his Zergling. Okay, one of them went down.
Okay, the lurker's helped there. Yeah, so this part will get cleaned up, but overall army supply is still very much in Cobblestone's favor. And he's attacking the outlying bases here that Eris had put on the other side of the map. And yeah, into the main here. If that doesn't get cleaned up quickly and it resets attack, then that's going to be a problem for Immortals.
Oh, this is trouble.
Yeah,
the amount of battling Immortals, your anti-air is going to be limited.
Yeah. Save this base. Yeah, if he could take those out of the air, definitely helps. And yeah, there's a Raptor on the other side. But there's just a lot of Immortals. They may not even need that Prism support as much anymore.
Yeah, especially with about 15 more Immortals coming across the map to join up. It's the perfect time to clean up these 5, though, if you can.
Yeah. The Lurkers are still going to be hard to deal with because, like, because of the Lings in front, it's going to be hard to like get on top to actually ever kill any of them, even with the detection there.
But you can probably expose
how
bots don't engage very well, you know. Just kind of pull back, kill all the Zerglings, and then move in and deal with the Lurkers. As Immortals are actually extremely good versus Lurkers if
they're there.
Buffer units,
Yeah.
They don't take much splash damage. They do the bonus to armored.
Coming in now, they're not.
Lurker's actually not even burrowed.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Fungal up front. Another good fungal to follow up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of gimmicky here. As he gets close, he can start cleaning them up. But there's still a bunch there in a bunch of different directions, and yeah, definitely resetting the army by quite a bit. One more coming in, but again, more.
Yeah, this is actually looking pretty good for Cobblestone, I think.
Yeah.
His economy has gotten to the point now where the Immortal train is just not going to stop, and Eris's economy is devastated. I mean, he's been reset on workers, on army supply, and then...
But there is a big shift coming right now for Broodlords, 5 Broodlords actually. Now they're going to be slow in chasing everything down, but obviously Immortals cannot hit up if we're being a purist.
Yeah.
So,
if nothing else, it's really good at keeping the barrier activated.
Yeah.
This is a couple broodlings at a time.
Let's contaminate on one of the buildings, but yeah, here's the tack, which is weirdly down in the corner, and now he's going after the main base here too. Broodlord's not known for their mobility.
Pretty sure in the previous attack, Cobblestone was taking out the main base of Eris, and by losing the attack in his main base, he's like, build a base that's safe at the moment.
Why.
Yeah. It's like, well, this one's not under attack. Let me rebuild over here.
So yeah, this is kind of tough now. It's the Broodlords you just have to avoid if you're still sticking with the Mono Battle. Of course, this is all voluntary that he's decided to do this, but yeah, that's tough to deal with. But he's going around killing enough tech there. I mean, he killed the Greater Spire, so you won't get more anytime super soon. But there are like 5 out there. He's even rebuilding the Lurker Den now. And yeah, you can Immortals coming in, you can lose these bases so quick. That just melted. And then here come in a bunch of Broodlords, but he will retreat back.
Yep. And without the Corruptors, the retreat is always the option.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like a really old StarCraft game. I think it was like Stefano beat MC by going Mass Roach against Mass Void Ray.
Yeah.
So like the idea was,
yeah,
I guess attack where you're not. Void Rays aren't very mobile, and I can just build more than you can build.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, getting the offense though with the Broodlords, that will change things quite a bit.
Yeah, it might turn it into a bit of a base trade situation. He's going out with a bunch of Warp Prisms full of Immortals to again attack where the main tech used to be, but it's not there anymore. If Eris can get into the main and shut down like robos and everything, that could work.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I thought Cobblestone was probably on the verge of taking this was that his economy was so massive. Yeah. So if you can continue rebuilding the way Eris always does while knocking out the economy on the other side of the map, that'll be great. But he's not actually wiping down much of any economy.
No,
he's hurt the third.
They're not decisive. Like they don't go for that jugular.
Probably getting production and stuff, which I guess like he probably got some robos. I'm not sure.
And now he's pulling back, and that's definitely what you can't do. I don't know that he's gonna save anything. He kind of needs to rebuild bases. He didn't even rebuild the main yet,
which is probably okay if it's right out.
It's
rebuilding
out,
the bottom
yeah,
left.
I think that's it. You kind of are playing whack-a-mole now. If he could somehow actually trap and reset this army, but he needs...
You got a chunk of it at the natural I saw on the mini-map.
Yeah. If he had a couple Corruptors, like you said, Ungle there certainly helps, yeah.
Nice.
Getting 2 Immortals in one of the Warp Prisms. But Eris's army is small, but what remains is unkillable because it's in the air.
Okay, looks like the bottom right base was shut down. So that's something.
Yeah.
So there's just 2 solid mining bases out of Cobblestone, which is still good. I think he still has a good amount of robos. Yeah, it's unfortunately Eris's counterattack hit the wrong 2 bases. Seeing the second and third, you know, one was mined out, one was halfway mined out.
Yeah, had he drilled in obviously to hit that, the main 7 robos or whatever, then that would have helped. There's still 24 Immortals on the map. 6 Warp Prisms.
Oh, and Eris is spending what little minerals he has on Zerglings.
Yeah.
Yeah, bots don't make it to the ultra late game, so there's no real thought process of, you know, I have 2,000 minerals or I have 2,000 gas and no minerals. Maybe I shouldn't be making Zerglings.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think he's rebuilt the Spire. Like a couple Corruptors would just shut down the mobility.
Zerglings getting in here, striking down the third. Nice, well in position to deal with these mortal drops. Finally, some good luck for Eris when it comes to positioning. Even got some lurkers back on the field.
Main army coming across the middle. But the Lings, again, continue to kind of get behind. But there's still 80 workers alive. Like, he's killed a lot of them in these backstabs. Doesn't matter. Nice cancel in time. He's... Oh, yeah. Like, he lost his spawning pool and everything. Like, there's nothing.
I don't think Cobblestone knows about the bottom left, though.
Yeah.
Even though some drones have wandered in from that direction.
Yeah. Okay, I think
okay, now he's checking now.
yeah.
Okay, and Eris is kind of sitting back on the defense of the army he does have. I think this might be the final blow. to see. I mean, he's still got the army to deal with this. He's still got 1 million drones. Is there... Yeah, there's an observer here. Okay. But honestly, he can kill like 2/3 of these drones, and there's still plenty of drones for a new base.
Yeah, he's trying to establish that one again. Now he doesn't have enough minerals to start another, and he's going to have to long distance mine. He wants to recover any. They're coming. The Bird Lords go after. This isn't even the main army at this point. The other one's bigger. But we'll some of this up. But he's got everything here. I mean, it still doesn't really help him, but. Yeah, living. Okay, this would be the bigger pickup, but there's the recall, but it doesn't get everything.
Okay, some units down.
Faster there.
Yeah, probably got off a fungal. I see there's only 3 war prisms left, so I think he had 5 at one point. Yeah. So I think that was a 2 war prism fungal, which is pretty big.
That was the last heated hatchery. There's one being built in the middle of the map.
So I have a feeling that Cobblestone's going to win this game with Eris still having a large army.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It might be an elimination.
Nothing can hurt these. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well I guess the Broodlords will definitely survive.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's not going to go engage the lurkers underneath a bunch of Brood Lords or anything. It's just going to be...
Meanwhile, Cobblestone has established everything on his side of the map, so
yeah, I think
he has infinite immortals at this point. These drones are like, they are having the command to like, hey, retreat back to the base I still have, and there's no answer to that because there's no base it still has.
Take up this position at least, but yeah, kind of a shame. If Eris had been able to push into the main when he was over there, that would have been interesting, because then at least you'd have to rebuild all this production. You wouldn't have gotten another wave of immortals. But the other thing is, when he converted to Brood Lords, he converted like all 8. Raptors had 2 survive. Like, you don't need 8 Brood Lords in this situation. He would have been able to take out the prisms, but over there in front again. But yeah, Cobblestone just kind of infinite money at this point.
So is he going to try to just like dive the hatchery here?
Yeah.
Because this is a lot of defense.
Yeah, looks like that was the thought, but didn't work out just yet.
Yeah, if Eris ever decides to go on the offense, that's going to be the end of his last phase.
Nice off here.
Nice.
Those ones are empty, but okay. That one full lived. Yeah, he's kind of got to go across, but the moment he goes across, he's going to get backstabbed.
Yeah. Or if he can somehow defend 2 bases and then use that to defend a 3rd base. Like if you took those 3 bases to the bottom left, you could do it all defensively. Problem is even the creep is just like not getting out at this point. He's kind of going to catch some of these like off guard. Let me do it. Yeah. Still Cobblestone sitting on a 3k, 6k bank as he's had all his bases up for so long. So
yeah, and
we'll never not see 1 million immortals. That'll always be the case.
Yeah.
Now he needs to, after this attack, he needs to pull back to his existing base.
Yeah, I think he's going to come in with the death blow here. That's going to take things out before he can respond.
Minerals are only at 160. He might get the cancel on that structure. No, he doesn't. So that's going to be it for hatcheries.
Yeah, there is one building still at the top, but that's mined out.
You'll never suspect it there, though.
Yeah. Too much mobility throughout. Yeah, if the immortals were just walking the whole time, it would probably be a lot harder.
Can you see the hatchery? He's got the camouflage of a million
sure.
overlords on top of it. Don't mind me, it's just some rain here. You know, nothing in the fog. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
There's ones on the ground. We'll find it by accident, basically, and that is it. So yeah, good model battle by Cobblestone. Running into like the worst case with the 8 Broodlords and nothing that shoots up. But yeah, mobile enough, doing enough damage to take it out.
Yeah, well done. It was actually a little bit back and forth for a moment, so it wasn't too silly. But
yeah, when it looked like they were in base trade mode, it wasn't certain for sure.
Yeah, I think that one base trade is the one that killed Eris, though. The one where he didn't do much on the other side of the map and lost all of his economy.
Yeah, that's
up until that point, he was always able to rebuild, and then he kind of lost that ability. He just ran out of money.
Yeah, losing all his tech and everything at the bottom of the map. And I think what really hurt him, because if he had still had a Spire that he had been able to make like a Corruptor or 2 out of, I think would be a difference. But yeah, he lost that. Lost the Lurker done, ultimately lost his pool, everything.
Yeah, a little surprised Eris doesn't have like the logic to, you know, have like a lone Corruptor out when you're facing, you know, if there's an Oracle out or if there's a Warp Prism or a Medevac, just have a lone Corruptor. Just so you can like slowly deal with these like silly harass units.
Yeah, it's this kind of moment there. You can see the attack in the bottom left and the attack in the top right, but then it's very often when we see bots lose, whether it's against bots or humans, it's decided by that bot deciding to retreat when it was inappropriate. Like that's so commonly the case, and I think it was there too. Had he gone in and wiped out the main,
yeah, or killed the bases that mattered, like the 2 in the south.
Yeah. Either way,
the 2 dried out one. Like anything other than what he did, he killed the 2 bases that didn't matter, and then he retreated home.
Yeah.
When there's only good targets remaining, he's like, okay, now I'll go home.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, it was a rough situation, but yeah, that base trade could have worked out for him. I actually like the fact that he moved across the map at that point in time. He did kill a lot of Immortals this game. I'll give him that. I mean, there was a fight.
For sure, there was. Lurkers did pretty well throughout, and even the flock of Hydras that were kind of alive throughout picked off a lot of Warp Prisms and things like that. So yeah, so the humans do take it, but we are still going to play out our last one as we do. And I think we are ready for game number 5. It is going to be Sharkbot versus our Super Secret Pro. Let's see who it is in the game.
Sharkbot.
Harrison playing as Aaron. And chatting a little with Sharkbot. And yeah, so Harstom's pretty familiar with the bots. He's been covering this for certainly over a year that he's dabbled in this space.
Very nice, very nice.
So yeah, and I think he's commented he likes Sharkbot. Yeah, so curious what he does.
Yeah, Sharkbot's definitely the most interesting bot. Yeah. Not only in his chat, but also just in the diversity of all the things it can do.
Yeah, definitely some broad options, cheeses, macro games, chatting.
Yeah, and like a lot of bots is like, I'm gonna make stalkers and immortals, and with Sharkbot it's like I can do everything. I can do feedbacks, I can do, you know, Colossus drops, I can cycle stalkers through Warp Prisms, like if you name it, the Sharkbot can do it. He may not do it well, or he may not do it at the right times, I mean, but
he does
literally capable of everything.
Yeah, they're the pylon in the main here, a little odd. It doesn't like block a wall or anything. I guess it blocks the add-on?
Yep.
Yeah, so interesting, a little obnoxious, but yeah.
You know what I always mentally forget when I'm in this situation as Terran? Is that the pylon grants vision.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just start building my
Yeah.
tech right next to the
Right.
pylon. It's like, what am I doing? I'm showing him literally everything I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Especially the extractor steels, like
Yeah.
or the assimilator steel. I always build my tech in front of the assimilator.
It does seem weird from a lore point of view of like, oh shit, that rock saw what I was building.
Got sensors or something.
Yeah, must be something. I mean, it produces energy somehow, so it works. Crystal power. Widow mines coming on Hearthstone's side, so that could be fun.
Yeah, nice little one gas opener. Actually, he's got a second gas now, so he can go to Starport as well. Whenever I see reactor marines with Widow mines, I always think, okay, that's the one gas expand. It's just so mineral intensive.
And threats coming out of Sharkbot. Delete your C drive.
If I know anything about watching movies, is that you can't unplug evil AI.
That's true.
You think you can,
They always find a way.
but the movie's only halfway done, so obviously it's not going to work.
So true. It's so true. We should, you know it all from. I think the original, the Lawnmower Man taught us that.
Except for Data from
Always.
Star Trek, who for some reason has
Says
an
that.
off switch.
Yeah,
Like,
just on the back of his neck. Yeah, it's awesome.
it's like two lessons that Star Trek never learned. It's like safety protocols on the holodeck and not having an off switch on your Android.
Yeah. Gets him in trouble every time. I've always surprised as like, I wonder what the moral outrage is like in the Star Trek universe of like they still these days try and blame like video games for violence and stuff. If the holodeck was literally kidnapping and attacking people constantly, you'd think they'd be like, well, at least this shouldn't be on like a military vessel. But they don't seem to.
I've never understood that claim of, video games resulting in real life violence because that's the one thing that's really easy to prove or disprove because violence statistics and video game sales, we have that for like every country for like decades of data.
True.
If there was a correlation, you would immediately be able to see it.
One of my favorite pieces of data ever, and they've tested this over and over and determined that it is true. Violent movies reduce violence, and the reason why is because violent people go to violent movies and are therefore sitting peacefully for 2 hours. And that's the direct correlation.
There's actually a correlation too between violent video games and less violence.
Yeah, and teamwork.
Not that one results in the other, but basically most violence happens late at night and alcohol is involved. And if you're a gamer, you're not you're not going to clubs late at night.
Exactly.
You're at home playing World of Warcraft or whatever.
Yeah, it's so true. I always remember having StarCraft parties and stuff here in Toronto. There's always a point like you're starting to get late in the night that people stop drinking because they want to be sober later to play on the ladder at night. Like, so people just cut it off.
That's funny.
Definitely a thing. Did you see in this latest thing with the United Healthcare guy, some paper was mentioning that he played an assassin in a video game that was stealthily trying to subvert whatever, and they were talking about the game Among Us. So they were trying to paint Among Us as as like an assassin training tool.
I did not see that one. No.
Yeah, it was awesome.
All right, so what's going on here? We do have a little marine tank push coming out with a couple medevacs. That's going to be
good. Worker count's relatively even. Yeah, he'll have to do this quickly. It has to get some damage done because he is a base behind at this point. There's still stuff going on in the main. Is that still Widowmine drops?
We've seen Sharkbot deal with this really well. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the Colossus yet. He just finished a robotics facility, so this attack is timed perfectly. I think if it comes a minute later and there's two Colossus with range, that's going to be a completely different story. He does have shield batteries. Stalkers do micro. There's a chance here.
Yeah, can he get on the tanks? And there, he's still going after the Marines, even though he's right on them. Yeah. No, okay. Now some damage done, but it might be a little late. Yeah. He also just didn't have to do that.
Oh, okay. There's a mule.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a really good timing attack out of Arsenal. I guess that's kind of a problem for Protoss in general, these tank timings that hit when you got like 1 or 2 Colossi. Yeah. Especially if you just matrix the Colossi that do exist.
Yeah, the one half constructed, but the base gets at least all the probes cleaned up, and the main base itself will fall. Yeah, it's not. He even moved forward. He got on both tanks. He may be able to take both out, but he was still attacking some Marines.
Yeah, I mean, or even killing the medevacs would have been nice, because these are double stimmed bio. But yeah, jump forward and attack something hardy, not the Marines. Marines are very dispendable. I mean, probably a lot of logic in bots is like, what can I shoot to actually make this army weaker immediately?
Yeah.
And, you know, often killing the lowest hit point unit is a good choice. But the lowest hit point unit is often Marines, and that's not a good choice.
Sure. No range for you.
Yeah. So no playing with this food. Like, Cobblestone Hearthstone will end this nice and quick. Going after these important pylons.
Yeah, we should have told them the mono battle limit.
Yeah.
Imagine Hearthstone using multiple units, basically cheating. But yeah, thanks to him for playing one. I know that he's been supportive of this scene. He's featured them on his channel a lot, done a number of videos with the AIs, and featured some of the authors. So, yeah, cool that he shows the interest. But he will close it out for the humans with a 4-1 victory over the bots.
Tanks are another thing that's really difficult for bots to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that unit's like, you have to attack it, but you also don't want to ever get in range of it. And like, how do you balance those two? It's like, do I just always stay back and then these tanks just have permanent positions, or do I jump on top of them and make myself look silly losing everything?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and a lot of the bots don't like the idea of like closing a gap. And that's always a problem with air units too. But like with the tanks, it's optimal if you get right on top of them. That's the point. But making that transition is really tough. So yeah, there we go. I think we're hopping to a quick break before we come back with the actual finals itself. So stick around, and we're going to have Caninana versus Deimos up next.
And we are back. Welcome back to the second half of 2024 Season 3 Grand Finals of Probots. I'm your host, Drekken, and I am here with the awake and present Ketrock, and always vigilant Endersword. Welcome back for the second half of the show, boys. Humans versus Probots. Once again, the bots did not win. Someone asked me if they've ever won, and the answer is yes, they have won.
Have they?
This is just, it's not the year.
Have they ever won?
They have won. They actually have won.
I don't remember that.
The entire history, I believe it is either once or twice, and it has not been since. So, definitely at least once. Don't ask me what year. I couldn't tell you, but it did happen once. So, yeah, so we're at the second half, and that means before we get into it, I'm going to do a bit of house cleaning to let you know a couple of key things. First one, we did what I would like to think, I'm very proud of, an awesome panel yesterday. If you're into, or you're looking to start getting in, putting some machine learning together on either StarCraft 2 or even any bot, we talked to a lot of awesome bot authors across the multiverse of games, and we had a really cool conversation. Highly recommend checking it out here on the channel. Smash Brothers, Pokemon, Rocket League, and then a former engineer from the DeepMind team. Good insight. Check that out. And then this week, because it's the summit week, I did the workshop to help you start a ZergRush AI. Check that out. It's also here on the channel, and there's a template below for you to get started. Cool. So that's the main housekeeping, and I'm not going to tell you the guys to like and subscribe, because if you're here, you probably are the kind of person I would already have done that by now, right?
Most
you're like if you're here, why wouldn't you do, like, that'd be kind of cruel. You came to watch the grand finals and you're like, you know what? These guys, I'm not subscribing and I'm not liking. So whatever. Okay. So Anderson, why don't you tell us about how we got here?
Well, it's really been a tale of two rectangles. You know, it was the best. It was the best of bots. It was the worst of bots. We started with a group stage with 4 groups of 4, and the best 2 bots out of each of those groups advanced on to the right rectangle, which started with a quarterfinals for our top 8, a semifinals for our final 4, and we are now at the best of 7 finals for these 2 remaining gladiators, Caninana versus Deimos. I think Deimos is played by Denzel Washington and Caninana by a guy that kind of looks like Pedro Pascal, but is in the same movie as Pedro Pascal, so it's a little confusing sometimes. But
Pedro Pascal is in everything, so
yeah,
might as well,
I know.
it could very well be him.
Yeah. So either way, it's Denzel Washington versus Russell Crowe's son.
And why don't we take a look at the bracket so we can see how the story of how we got to this, I would say, an unusual finals of Deimos versus Caninana. So we had Sharkbot taking out, oh my god, Dominion Dog. Oh,
yeah.
2-1. Well, that was a close one, if I remember.
That was a close one. Yeah. It came down to build types and weirdness.
And then Caninana taking out Micro Machine, good old Micro Machine, still making it to top 8. Good on him. 2-0 though. Zeno taking out Zozo, 2-0. It was quick and didn't fall to any of Zozo's nonsense, even though that was a little touch and go.
Yeah.
And then Deimos versus Tier. Tier making up the top 8 is not unusual. A little sad though that got taken out Deimos. I actually really thought his Thors would have been too much, but Deimos, because Deimos got taken out really early into the season.
Yeah.
It knocked into the losers bracket, but came up here pretty strong. Up against Xena, took him out, and then Caninana took out Sharkbot. So, boys, I'm going to ask you guys your predictions, and then before we get started, let you guys go, but like predictions of what you're feeling for this grand finals. If you had to vote in our poll.
Well, I might go with Caninana because of Infestors. I think that might be the decisive thing. It was, it's worked. If somebody relies on like a lot of powerful units, then the Infestor Neural seems to work. I don't think Deimos is going to be super aggressive early, so Caninana is going to have time to get there. As much I have faith in like the Team Eris, I don't know that it's. I don't know. It's if Caninana in particular has planned something for him, then I think it'll be tough. But I know that Deimos is dominant on the ladder.
What about yourself, Kent Rock?
I feel like it's going to come down to whichever bot author is more active. I think these 2 bots have faced each other a lot on the ladder. They probably know each other's tendencies and who typically wins and who doesn't. So if someone's coming with something different, or if someone cleaned up an issue that they're having with the other bots, I think that's going to be the author that comes out victorious. But I am expecting a good series. Like Andrew Sword said, Deimos doesn't put on a whole lot of early pressure, which means we're probably going to see some really good, strong late games out of both these bots.
That was a very good cop-out answer. I love it, actually.
Yeah. It is.
Who am I picking? I'm picking Deimos. I'm picking Deimos.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll go either way. It's the first time.
That wasn't the question, though. The question is like, what do you expect out of this series?
Yeah.
I also said, like, if you were to pick in a poll, it's a binary answer of who you'd pick. So
okay, maybe I misheard the question then.
Yeah,
we'll have to go back to the video evidence.
Yeah, I can definitely say it's the first series in a long time, or at least the first finals in a long time, where I'm not 80% less certain of whatever. And I think I'm even half picking Caninana just because I knew he was going to pick Deimos, so it was more interesting.
Okay, well, that's good. I like we have good half and half. And I think if to pick out back off of what Cat Rock said is that I feel both authors are very active right now. Like I don't think either one. Like sometimes you could suggest, like if Micro Machine's there, you're like, okay, Micro Machine's not working on it. Tier, he has a kid, you could probably like, oh, maybe he doesn't have enough time. But I think Ratosh and Rasper are pretty keen on winning. Like they are two people who seem to, they want to win. So I'm curious to see. We'll see. All right, so I'll let you guys take it off, and you can do the full analysis on it. We'll see you on the other side.
See, I always forget that he tries to trick us into doing analysis, and then he got 3 minutes to do analysis.
Yeah.
And then we're like, I already said that stuff.
Go do it again.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Caninana basically is going to be large economic get to slightly later game unit. So yeah, bot with reactive playstyle tries to survive the early game, play into the mid late with spellcasters. that's kind of what we already covered. It wants to get up to those investors, potentially lurkers, stuff like that. Has issues with cheese and timing attacks. We shouldn't get a lot of that from Deimos. And yeah, but I think it's going to come down to the engagements, like maybe, yeah, who's more tentative, who's more whatever. I think you're going to get potentially a Deimos death ball of some kind versus a Caninana caster army, and then which one performs better in that instance.
I'm a little worried that Deimos might be able to out micro the Caninana early game.
Yeah,
It's Caninana kind of just uses roaches, and I haven't seen a lot of Deimos, but whenever I see Deimos, it reminds me of -0, and just like that constant poking of all these ranged units. Like if he just starts bleeding out roaches, that could be the biggest issue. But if Caninana gets to the late game, yeah, it's going to be trouble for Deimos. All right, so plays every second step, which is pretty normal. Usually every second or every fourth step. Both are lightning fast compared to humans.
Indeed. Yeah. When we say step, we mean like frames, which are frequent.
Reusable behaviors. So if you want to make a bot yourself, a lot of the techniques you'll see Deimos using is like already built for you in the Ares framework, which might actually be the best pick. I think it's kind of like the best of both worlds between the two other Python libraries. Additional. And yeah, libraries helped made by Paul, aka I don't know this game.
Yeah.
But mostly made by Rasper.
Indeed.
At least this spot, yeah. Caninana made him Rust versus Python.
Yes.
Like this is like one of the fastest languages against one of the slowest languages. So Rust should have like the speed advantage.
It's weird. They should have named it different. It doesn't sound fast.
That's true. Rust. I wonder where that name came from now to think of it.
Yeah. A lot of things are weird. But yeah, we've got potentially have all 7 maps here. Starting off on hard lead.
Yeah, that's a 7. Forgot this is the finals, right? So we could see every map almost.
Yeah, I'd be surprised for sure if it was a sweep. But again, I guess where both of them go macro, it kind of potentially makes sense that if one wins, they would just win it all. Because it's not like going to be early timing based or like map structure based as much in that sort of thing. But we'll jump in now and see.
Game 1.
Caninana. Deimos.
So yeah, as expected, nothing cheesy or weird coming out of them in the opening here. Caninana's gone for the expand. Deimos building at the ramp.
Yep, early scout out of Deimos here. Might be trying to gas steal. Oh, actually gets caught. We didn't get to see that little trick Caninana does where he blocks the gas steal with his drone, but that's even better. Yes, I actually have no clue how these two match up head to head. I know Deimos is higher on the ladder, but that doesn't mean he might still lose every single time versus Caninana. It's just better against other bots. But I'm gonna guess that if he does do well versus Caninana, typically, it's probably Caninana just had to fix 1 or 2 things, and that would completely flip. Because there's a lot of things Caninana does super, super strong. So yeah, that's why I say it might come down to who's the more active author.
Yeah.
I think if Caninana watched a couple replays and like, okay, I'm kind of like bleeding at this point in the game, let me just fix this one thing up, and that might be all it takes to completely turn this in their favor.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It's I think especially it's kind of funny. Deimos is in the seat that Ares put a lot of people in, which is if you let the Zerg take everything and get to like 25 minutes, then you could be in serious trouble. And that was always Eris's thing, was stalling people out, so that even if you're doing some earlier mid-game timing, he just delayed you, and then ended up with like infestors and vipers and everything. And now it seems like Caninana probably wants to be the one to get there. A chrono boosted Phoenix.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Have we seen Phoenix openers from Deimos?
Not really. I wonder if it's just one to go pick off
Overlords and stuff?
and overseers. Yeah.
That would be a nice addition. We do know that Caninana loves to have like 7 overseers constantly pushing the other side of the map later in the game. Maybe you don't need it yet for that, but those overseers are super annoying and obviously much slower than Phoenix, so one Phoenix could be enough to deal with it. Yeah.
See what his response is. I mean, they do at least treat him as real and not hallucinated. Well, back up. Burrow is underway for Caninana, almost finished actually.
Yeah, it's surprisingly difficult to know whether a Phoenix is real or not when you're playing. You'd really have to analyze like how many hit points are lost when you attack it, because you can't even really see what it's attacking either. So as a human, you just see, oh, okay, it's shooting an Overlord and not doing any damage to it. But in the bot's API, you don't know that it's shooting a nearby Overlord.
He is still adding more, so yeah, now picking off individual drones, but third one comes in.
And these queens are actually out of position. I think they're just dealing with the Zergling or something at the Adept at the front.
He takes advantage here, gets drone kills, gets Overlord kills. Definitely can be really annoying. Deimos definitely wants to slow down the economy of Caninana early.
This is huge.
Be a pretty,
he's pushing 5 of these into a corner. Like, he's gonna be safe to kill all of them, even if the queens arrive right now. And like every speck of that energy, like every 50 energy that's been lost in those Phoenix has been a dead drone. So that's a big deal as well. Wow, what a great start out of Deimos.
One of them kind of just pulled away slowly and got away with it. But yeah, that's a big mineral loss early on, and also just kind of where you end up spending your larva. Now he's going to start turning things into the overseers too, which is even more costly if they get picked off. But yeah, the Queen's just not responding to this at all. If this is kind of like an exploit that he's found to do constant damage.
Could it be the Queens like deciding that they're not strong enough to engage the Phoenix?
Or Phoenix, yeah. I mean, there's only 2, so yeah, if you up, be trouble. But you've kind of got to do something here. And he is going to add on more Phoenix. He stopped for a little bit, but there's more going to be coming in. And this definitely just out of control. There's only 21 workers now left, and there's nothing even like spores or anything that's coming. But here comes the Link Flood, and then, you know, is there enough just conventional units to deal with this?
No wall off with the natural is a big deal. So yeah, this is good. This is exactly what Caninana needs because things are not going well on this side, and that is the weakness of Phoenix, right?
Yeah,
they're just like they're flying paperweights.
They're not defense
because they've already even used all their energy killing drones, so they can't even use them on defense.
Yeah, so he gets them down to 20 or 30 workers there, but then we rebuilt a couple. Roach is coming back. But yeah, there's just still nothing really turning this off on the other side. It's almost a double-edged sword that because he's lost so many drones and other things, he's never actually been supply blocked, despite all the overlords dying. But yeah, there's just still nothing pulling them away. Like, the only thing restricting them now is that they don't have all this energy. But yeah, now we're going to have the queens directly die. Yeah, there's just no inkling of anything ever taking these under the air.
I have a habit of always getting supply blocked after I've lost half my workers. It just makes me double angry. It's like, I just lost 25 SCVs. How am I supply blocked a second later? It's like that should not even be possible. Oh my gosh, I would love to see the units lost tab. Like the amount of drones and overlords that have gone down this game, and it's only by Phoenix.
Yeah, 9 overlords, 2 overseers. Only 14 drones actually is not what I would have expected. So I think we may have again had that Caninana thing where it didn't build drones while under pressure.
Yeah, well, he did have a million Zerglings as well, right?
Yeah.
It could be some sort of logic of like when he's under threat, he builds army,
Yeah.
even if the threat is Phoenix,
Yeah.
which isn't really a threat, you know? It's only a threat for how much energy it has. A lot of times my defense to Phoenix is like the Zap Brannigan approach of just...
Yeah. Until their kill bot.
Yeah.
Their kill count is maxed. Yeah.
Because you can basically defend by just letting them kill however much they want, so then they can't kill anymore because they're out of energy. Another amazing counterattack though, another huge batch of drone probes going down.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, literally 0 workers on Deimos' side, which is kind of nuts. Army is only 18 too, despite this massive Phoenix fleet. There's nothing it can do.
And you know what I love that Caninana is doing right now is building Zerglings.
Yeah.
You think he has no overlords, he has no drones. Why are you building Zerglings? But Zerglings are actually the key because that's the one thing Phoenix can't deal with.
Yeah.
Even roaches would be bad because like Phoenix can like
eventually
kill
get
100.
through them. Yeah.
You know, it's one lift to kill 100 resources, whereas with the Zerglings it's 4 lifts to kill 100 resources. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that initial attack came in, took the worker count down to 30, but killed a lot of the stalkers that were there as well. And then, like, an immortal was there, but that's obviously not going to be good against the lings. And so, yeah, a bit of a just not maybe knowing when to transition, but also then not going in for the complete kill. Like, I think the Phoenixes could have, transitioned out. You didn't need to get more and more of them. Had to eventually go back. Even some static defense, maybe some shield batteries to make that safer.
Yeah. I mean, the Phoenix got the maximum amount of damage that Phoenix can possibly get. Like, you can't do any better than that. But then, you know, I think I said this last week. You fight on the open field versus Zerg, you'll always lose the Zerglings.
Yeah.
So the fact that there is no wall off at the natural meant that Ling Flood was just unstoppable by a handful of stalkers or whatever he had. You really need to deny the surface area somewhere.
Indeed. So, yeah, a big turnaround here. We'll see if Deimos goes with the same sort of thing. I think, again, that was clearly a successful opening. You just had to then make other adjustments. So there's nothing wrong with that as a build idea. But just had to make sure that you're safe on your own end while doing such a thing. So we'll jump into game number 2 and see if we get... I kind of want to just run that back and see what happens.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Let's hop into it.
Deimos.
The saying walling off your natural, just wall off the natural, is actually much more difficult for bots than you would ever suspect. Walling off the main is easy because like the ramps are always a standard size. There's always a terrain difference. It's very easy to have an algorithm that figures out where the ramp is and how to wall it off. But with the natural, I think usually bots either just hard code it for every map, like how to wall off the natural, or it looks like really, really funky because they try to figure it out and it's like really messed up wall off. Especially when there's no ramp, it's really hard to... Anything terrain related is very, very difficult for bots. So, it doesn't surprise me, it's just like, I'm just not going to wall off. Because it's a fairly new bot, I don't want to spend like a month working on such a basic thing.
I think if you're not going to do that, you at least want to kind of like SimCity your mineral line or something a little bit. Like, throw a battery in there, throw a cannon in there. Like, do something. This is a speed bump.
Yeah. Well, Deimos is definitely a newer bot. It's built on a very strong framework, and by strong bot authors, but it's still, you know, he hasn't been cheesed 1,000 times like Eris has, so he hasn't had all that time to like work out the kinks in the bot.
Yeah, I think the thing is, because he's almost, not that it's quite a cheese, but like given that he was the one initiating the Phoenix thing, you know that you're exposed during that, so to not have as much of a backup plan for that. I mean, he may have thought the units work, or like this destroys the economy so much that it would definitely be plausible to think, hey, I've probably got you supply blocked after killing 11 overlords, but it wasn't the case.
Yeah, and definitely you have to play defensive when you're opening pure Phoenix.
Yeah.
I mean, that's often why we see a couple Oracles mixed in, or a Void Ray, just to have some sort of anti-Zergling on the other side of the map. As much like a Bailing Bust, Phoenix is kind of like a throwaway army, so like, yeah, it can get a lot of harassment done, but on your side of the map, it's pretty useless at defending, unless you're in particularly saving up energy, which is another thing you can do. If you think you're getting all in, you see the size of the enemy army, you gotta say like, okay, I gotta, even though I can kill drones, I gotta stop killing drones because I need to pick up roaches on my side of the map if I'm going to not die.
Right. Yeah, and it looked like the Phoenix didn't even have an inkling of like the idea of coming back to help.
And I don't blame them. They're like kids in a candy store over there.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like every time I get 50 energy, I kill a drone, and every time I don't have 50 energy, I'm killing overlords. It was like it was a dream on their side. But yeah, you had to survive. Maybe not taking the third base, maybe adding cannons, and obviously a wall. The Zerglings can't do much against the wall.
So getting glaive this time.
What's going on up there? Is that Phoenix killing an overlord, or is that Zerglings killing an adept? Something was being chased into the top right, but whatever it is, it's dead now. Third base coming down for Caninana. Natural base is well saturated by Deimos. And he does have a Void Ray this time, so he has switched up his strategy. Completely, actually. As we're seeing adepts with glaives as well. So, everything is different.
Though, again, it's kind of one of those things of like the bot doesn't know why it lost.
Yeah, I know.
So even though that was a wildly successful strategy, it doesn't know that. It just sees that as a 0. Which is a big thing that, you know, is a problem in stuff like reinforcement learning and, you know, how you have to design like reward algorithms for AI is it's hard to identify sometimes what you were almost right about.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, you lost, so it's only the end result that matters.
And sometimes with top bots, after they lose, they'll just be like super defensive the next game.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, if I lost, I must have been cheesed, right?
Cheesed,
There's no way anyone beat me in a legitimate game because I'm so good, so I must have been cheesed. Let me just go straight into an anti-cheese strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, enough queens to deal with this Void Ray. Yeah. But the Void Ray is getting nice work done on the roaches with that prismatic alignment. Adepts being chased down by roaches here.
Yeah,
a lot of adept harass going on actually.
Shades finishing there is interesting because they're kind of pulled apart.
Yeah, that's a very bad finish. That one is like literally surrounded by roaches on one side, queens on the other. It's like, let me finish that one up. It is not getting worker kills, but it is forcing a lot of lost mining time as these drones are all being burrowed to keep them alive. So there's temporarily a massive hit to the economy.
Yeah, whether that's a good enough trade, and it's at least keeping him maybe on Caninana's side of the map as the third is coming down for Deimos as well. But as it's cleaned up, it looks like the roaches do want to move out and do something.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking really, really good for Caninana. Deimos, who I thought came in as a favorite, is looking now like he might go down 2-0 because he just got slaughtered in that attack. And like, yeah, it wasn't an all-in. He has a third base coming up behind this. But it's still dangerous.
Yeah.
That said, these stalkers are getting...
Yeah, they're going to push him back. There's not enough there to really do massive damage. Worker supplies are relatively even, so when Deimos gets the third up, that's going to work well. Caninana does have the bigger army, but it can't move out off creep like it wanted to.
Yeah, and when it tried, he just lost about 3 roaches retreating back home. The equal worker count's actually a little surprising. I thought with all those attacking units, Deimos would be behind on workers. I guess he must have gotten more drone kills than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought with all those adept surrounds and the burrowed drones that you probably didn't get any, but maybe you got like 7, 8 worker kills that I just missed.
Little engagement here on the edge of creep. Go back off of it. We're getting some stalkers.
Yeah, very nice. I love the kiting forward with the roaches. You got the buffer of zerglings.
Yeah, pretty
very
big
nice
cleanup. Army supply is definitely quite low for Deimos now, but I still don't know if Caninana can really move. There is at least one immortal out on Deimos' side, which would do pretty well against the roaches, but he will push into the third here and check that.
Yeah, we'll split up. He is going to be able to focus fire down these workers, though. Robots actually fighting back a little bit when they have shields, so there's actually the Zerglings did get knocked down to a lower number, so they didn't get to wipe out the mineral line as quickly as they wanted to.
I think there is an immortal alive somewhere. I don't know where it is. I saw it being built, at least.
Yeah. No detector there, so these roaches are actually able to burrow.
There it is. Yeah, there it is.
Okay, meanwhile, 5 bases for Caninana on his side, so looking strong again. I'm just double checking here. Last time I thought Caninana had this, it ended up I was completely wrong. The game is even. But
yeah, the burrow and burrow movement here helps a lot. It's going to keep those alive a lot longer. There is an observer out, but like you said, they just heal so fast unless you focus fire on them. Like you can see, basically he's out healing like 3 stalkers, trying to take him out.
Yeah, I remember I used to play mech a lot, and before cyclones were in the game, oftentimes you only had Hellions, and if a roach burrowed, you actually couldn't kill it.
Yeah.
If you saw it and we shot it with Hellions, the Hellions couldn't damage it faster than it could heal.
Yeah.
It was just an invulnerable unit. And a lot of times when you're responding to like harassment, the tanks are way out of position. You gotta respond to the Hellions. Yeah, a lot of stalkers getting caught here. Third base being taken out. Probes running for their lives. There's 2 immortals, so I think like he will be able to stabilize.
Yeah.
And if he keeps the 3rd alive, he's still okay.
Yeah,
Especially with the 4th on the way.
Problem is,
really
the
stabilize
Ling
that. There's so many Lings.
Yeah, Ling flood coming in. He kind of gets on the roaches, pulls them back, then Lings reinforce, and has trouble. And he's, it's still, there's 1 Colossus, no range on it yet. That's about halfway done. This could help him, but then shortly after, like as soon as if he restabilizes with this, immediately infestors with Neuroparasite are about to get him.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult now. 3rd base is going down. The 4th still exists. He does need to keep it alive.
Yeah, it will die. Like there's nothing that's going to get out there to save it.
Well, I mean, the Colossus is okay. We're speeding up, so
there
can't sell anymore.
The side plot was there was 1 worker left when they hit speed up.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that as well.
Yeah,
we've seen from Sharkbot the Colossus can get like 500 kills before it dies.
Yeah.
The fact that they can always be cutting backwards and they can walk over anything means they often survive forever.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty decisive there again, despite very different strategies. I think this adept thing, like, lost mining time, etc., but this was a lot of investment to not do anything. And then, like, a single Void Ray 2 going down it didn't really make sense with it. Like, if they were fighting together or something, maybe, but the Void Ray on its own and the adepts all split up just didn't really work there.
Yeah. The Void Ray it can come, but it shouldn't be fighting to the death if it's going to be adept harass.
Yeah.
You can poke where it can and then just pull back off creep. And obviously Void Rays never have to die at that point in the game because queens can't move off creep.
Definitely. So we're going to be moving on to Site Delta, see if Deimos switches up the builds yet again. That was definitely a completely different approach. I don't know how many builds he's got. If he maybe goes even back to the Phoenix thing, I think would still be interesting. But Caninana looking good so far. So I think we are ready right away for game number 3.
Let's do it.
Nope. We got Juke. changed out. Yeah.
I mean, I always felt like it was only a matter of time before Caninana becomes a champion, and now he's like really, really threatening that. I mean, Deimos is still #1 on the ladder, though. You don't get to be #1 unless you slaughter everyone. So this could just be like flukes that Adeptras has went horrifically bad. Game 1 literally could have gone either way. Both players got slaughtered.
Yeah, you end up with that type of thing of like, if that usually, it's how the bots work too, or choosing builds is like, if there's something that works 90% of the time and you won with it, then you may have just swept 4 games doing that thing, but you get unlucky, lose one, and you abandon it, even though that was your victory path. So, because I mean, obviously, like, you know, 2/3 of the way through that game, it looked, even after the first counterattack, it still looked pretty good. But it was just the gap. I think we just kind of kept thinking like, well, the gap will get plugged, like he'll respawn now. Like now that he's got like 8 Phoenixes, well, he'll build something else. And it just kind of didn't.
Yeah. I think a lot of it too was Caninana was responding by massing Zerglings, which is probably a bug. It probably sees the Phoenix as a threat, so it's just building units to defend, even though it's the wrong type of unit to defend against Phoenix. And then it ended up being, you know, what won in the game. If it was coded in as a strategy, that's really awesome. If he's like, oh, you're building that many Phoenix, I'm just going to go kill you. Then that's an awesome response.
Yeah, I think when we flipped to see how many workers had died and it was only 14, but he was on like 21 workers, it was like, oh, okay, he just never built these. Okay, I think we are good to get into game number 3.
Caninana. Deimos.
Such a little thing, but I love how both bots double up on the closest mineral patches right at the very start of the game. Like you split your workers at the start of the game. I individually micro all 12 workers to the correct patch at the start of the game.
Indeed. Okay, we're getting a forge first. Here by Deimos. Interesting.
Oh, is this going to be his like one base Tempest play?
Maybe.
I actually loved this last time.
That'd be fun. That would be good. That would be, I think, again, based on the Phoenix game, Tempest would certainly be hard to deal with. If that's what he's trying to do. Yeah, cannon in the back there. Well positioned.
I feel like he could get away with going Gateway first, actually. If I were to redo this build for or Deimos. Although I guess eventually you're going to be bottlenecked by gas, not by how fast you tech to start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not just.
The other thing is against Caninana, you could probably safely open up to 2 bases because Caninana is not the one who's going to, 12 pool you or something. So, yeah, if this is what I expect it'll be, we're going to see this gigantic economic lead by Caninana, but we're going to figure out if you can deal with the range of Tempest. When they have that much range and they're microed by a bot so that they stay at maximum range, they can almost be like this invulnerable siege unit that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and more.
Yeah. See that.
You can definitely tell this is like we're going deep into the strategies of Deimos here. It's like this is not his first choice or his second choice. This is like the desperation choice. It's like, well, maybe this crazy thing will work.
I think it could too. I don't think he's necessarily wrong with that. Getting additional cannons throughout too, a shield battery.
Yeah. And this came in really handy versus Xena on Wednesday, where Xena was actually going proxy racks against him. pushed through the main base, like actually went up the ramp and took out the powering pylon. But just since there was more cannons to fall back to, eventually the Tempest just, even though there's only one Tempest out, it would eventually just kill off all the Marines. And then you get the second Tempest and third Tempest, then Xena was in big trouble.
Yeah, definitely. It did pan out well. Tiny bit because of Xena hesitating on finishing that pylon in one instance, but could have gained him like 10 seconds or something. Which can be all the difference when you're waiting for your first Tempest to come out. But
it might be a bit of an exploit, but it would have been nice if he opened with a couple Phoenix, actually.
Yeah.
Just to see if he could bait Caninana into building a million Zerglings again. Because you kind of want Caninana to attack into when you open one base 7 cannon or something. It's one way to kind of stay close economically. If Caninana is just pure droning, then...
I think he's got it timed out, as I see there. He's got it timed out to do the Tempest upgrade and the Tempest at the same time, and that brought him right down to 0 gas. So I think that's probably what he's trying to do. I don't know that you need that right away though.
You don't.
like that's not really the issue. It would be more the issue actually if you proxied this.
Yeah,
but,
I mean if you're like facing like proxy spine rush or something, then I could see it. But yeah, killing structures is usually not the first thing you're doing with Tempest.
Not the priority.
I will say it is one of the most ridiculous upgrades in the game though.
Yeah.
Usually, like if you buff a unit's DPS by like 5%, that could like really throw off the whole game's balance.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, let's just give 100% DPS buff to the Tempest. Only versus structures, but still.
It is cool.
There was this like meta where like Zerg was like unstoppable. They just built a whole bunch of spines and spores and you couldn't break through it in the late game as Protoss. And Blizzard couldn't figure out how to fix it, so they're like, okay, let's just make Tempest erase spore crawlers. And they did that by giving them like double damage versus structures.
I always loved the evolution of the Tempest from what it was originally designed to be, which was like an area of effect unit with like pretty light damage. It was supposed to be like an anti-muta sort of thing. It was supposed to like splash and like be air to air, and it turned into the single target massive bash.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I remember in the beta I was playing with the Tempest. I was actually doing a very similar strategy to this, where it was just pure cannon Tempest, but a little bit more offensive. And back then the Tempest would shoot 22 range, which was basically a screen and a half.
Yeah.
Like that range is ridiculous right now versus ground, and it's 10. It used to be 22.
Yeah.
And versus air and ground. Right now I think they're 15 versus air and 10 versus ground.
Yeah, sounds right. I know that they originally designed it, like the other one that changed a lot was Oracle. Oracle used to be completely a pacifist. It didn't kill anything.
Yeah.
It just did the revelation. It didn't do stasis. It put your minerals in a dome or something. And then it turned into like the worker murderer.
Yeah, there's this like famous Dustin Browder quote from the video where it's like, no worker will ever die to an Oracle. And then when they would release the Oracle, like nothing killed more workers ever in the game than Oracles.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they definitely went back on that statement.
Yeah, everything changed a lot. Roaches here. This is kind of annoying when you've got a Tempest-based army because, like, you know, you've got 3 units. You don't want to divert one to deal with this, but that can get a lot of damage. Luckily, it's not going for probes, but it's still obnoxious.
Yeah, he needs to get lured in by a probe or something.
Okay, this is really key. If he takes out the infestation in particular, that's kind of the thing that you wanted to counter this. So the infestors are coming, but we're not going to have Dural Parasite, which is what we talked about before the matchup, as the thing that stops this.
Yeah, but honestly, that might help Caninana if that makes him build more Lings and Roaches.
Yeah.
Because, like Tempest, they got this massive
now.
range and they may never die, but they also kill things very, very slowly.
Yeah.
So he doesn't...
He's now recognizing this threat, but it's too late. He's trying to come back to deal with this, but
yeah, so killing the Nexus probably wasn't the best idea, but eventually he got it, so it worked.
And it eventually did drag this whole thing back as he finally recognized that maybe there's a threshold for that. But yeah, 2 roaches wasn't doing it. He's got a burrowed ling there, but this kind of comes with no detection.
So here's the thing, you keep Deimos on 1 base for the entire game. Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're not losing Tempest, you can still on 1 base, you can probably build like, 30 Tempests on 1 base worth of those 2 gas geysers.
Yeah.
But he is staying defensive. I would like to, you kind of want to see this Tempest always shooting. Like, never have a point in time where they're not shooting. So either pushing out a little on the offense or... Okay, Roach is coming in. This is going to be good for Deimos because I don't see this ever working. The cannons in the main base and stuff.
Yeah,
actually, if you kill these distance mining probes, that's useful.
The burrow helps keep them alive, but because of the cannons, they can't push in burrowed. There's the station coming back.
Yeah, but he might be able to own that low ground. He might be actually be able to like heal through all these Tempests if you have enough roaches here. Just keep throwing the ones that get weak. And yeah, now the probes are going down. Very nice. The distance mining gas is probably more of a deal. What if this ends up being like a 45-minute win by Caninana? Where he needs to make like 700 units per Tempest kill.
He'll come. I think as soon as we do get the Neural done, he'll come across, start grabbing these. There's no detection this far out, so he's going to have free reign to do that.
Yeah, we got Spire on the way as well, which will be a big deal if he makes Corruptors.
Yeah, I think he had the moment. I think he had to come back and defend. That was kind of the thing because he had made it as far across as the main base of Caninana, and then having to choose that time to come back home. And because he did it with everything too, had he deployed 1 Tempest to guard the front while the rest of them did it.
Oh, he's one-shotting roaches now.
Yeah.
He's getting kills there. Yeah, these Tempests actually may be wanting to be on offense right now.
Yeah.
But just since there's always a unit visible, they're just always shooting that unit. He's got 2 Tempests on the way, right? So like once you can start one-shotting roaches, you might be able to start getting across the map again. Because you really don't have to be on defense. Like your reinforcement Tempests are enough. You got cannons and stuff. Caninana is very tentative on his attack as well. Unfortunately, the Tempests have lost their synced up attack, so they're not getting the one-shots anymore. But with these 2 new Tempests popping out, maybe they'll start getting that again.
A little pulled apart too.
5 spines. Okay.
Yeah. At some point too, there's like 7 or 8 corruptors now too. They're gonna come across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, against 7 or 8 corruptors, you can kill that without losing a single Tempest. You're cutting backwards. You're shooting for 15 range.
And again.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever work. Wait, does he have detection?
Yeah, from the high ground.
High ground, nice. Okay, very good. Yeah, like, I'm not convinced that Caninana has this wrapped up.
No, yeah, it's a lot.
You have to be able to kill these Tempests, and if you never figure it out, eventually, like we saw this kind of when Eris faced that Mass Immortal mono battle. Like it looked like Eris couldn't lose, but you have to figure out how to kill the base army. And if you don't, like eventually that base army is just going to wipe everything out. And as good as Immortals are versus structures, Tempests are even better. So once they get across the map, it will start.
I think it'll come down to as he moves out of this main lane, will there be a roach backstab? And they're the infestor pack. We do have Neural now.
Some roaches are making it through. I'm not sure what sort of harassment they're putting on the natural, but maybe the reinforcements will be okay against it. Oh, quite a few made it through actually. Okay, so here's one Tempest. Yeah, he needs to get up like a low ground cannon. I do like that these Tempests are across the map because I don't think Deimos even needs that natural base. I don't think that's his like. His road to victory is not an economic one. Obviously, it'll help him make more Tempests, but right now he has enough. The question is, does Caninana have the ability to kill like pure Tempest? He's got these Corruptors. They're waiting outside of range because they know they don't have enough. So the decision making is there, but will he ever get enough?
Yeah, and are the infestors going to do anything? They're burrowed. There's no detection. they have Neuroparasite, but it feels like they maybe don't have the coding to do this. Going to Bird Road doesn't seem right.
Well, you probably have some calculation of like how much you want to jump in on this, but sometimes that calculation doesn't work out well. I remember I always wanted to build a certain amount of Vikings before I jumped onto a mass battlecruiser army, but at one point it got to the point in the game where it decided I needed like 212 supply of Vikings to fight it, so they just never jumped. Or whatever the supply number was, it was just a bad calculation. So I've never faced that many BCs before. Okay, here we go.
Here's go time.
But he's not really going. So the Tempests are going to be killing each other, which is so nice. Like, there he goes. Alright, very well done. Took a while, but he did get there. And I think this is enough, right?
Yeah, he had it on like, this is like 18 Raptors at this point. And yeah, there must have been some threshold there that once a couple of the Tempests died after the Neural, he went with the rest.
And I'd say one base was enough to get all the Tempests you need, but it's not enough to get all the Tempests you need, lose them all, and then rebuild them again. You know, at that point you do run out of gas. Wow, 3-0 out of Caninana, including facing like the secret build ahead of Deimos.
Yeah, that's...
Rasper's always got something in his back pocket.
I didn't think it would take quite as long. I guess it was the hesitancy to get in and neural these, because that could have obviously been done sooner. But, yeah, a few things went... I think him actually picking off the infestation pit the first time he was over there delayed getting to that point, obviously, by quite a bit. And then kind of being able to reestablish this position and move out again was good.
Yeah, that's impressive, like, because honestly, even at like the 10-minute mark or 15-minute mark of the game, I actually thought Deimos was going to win.
Possible.
I didn't think that, like, if I had to bet, I would have bet on Deimos. I didn't think Caninana would have the code to jump it with the correct army.
It didn't look.
I thought it would bleed units into it, or it would just always sit back and never have the right army, or it would jump it and get slaughtered by the fighting.
Yeah, at the time that I saw 11 Corruptors being built, I thought, yeah, probably this is it, that it'll go. But yeah, it was scary for a bit there. If he just never went, then that would definitely be a problem.
Yeah, but even with that attack range, like Corruptors alone, like it was a combination with the.
It was more whether you could trigger one leads to the other. That with like even that many Corruptors, could you kill a couple that then activate the rest of it? Like the neural was always what was really going to win, but it was just whether you turned on the, okay, go do it. Because there was nothing that could stop him from doing that.
The other thing that might have messed up Deimos is like, you notice in that final fight, he wasn't kiting backwards with his Tempest. And what might have happened is he got a Tempest neuraled, and all of a sudden, 15 range around his entire army was danger zone. So he's like, where do I even kite to? Everywhere is danger. And that's why it didn't end up moving at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. All right. So hopping into what may be the final match of the evening, but Deimos will attempt to mount a comeback.
Okay, so if I'm a guessing man, I'm going to say Deimos does not have a fourth strategy planned. So I think he might go back to what he thought was the best strategy, and probably what he thought was the best strategy was the game one strategy.
Yeah.
And I think that's good for Deimos, because I think that Phoenix play was probably his best case scenario to win. Of course, as I say that though, Rasper's, he's got lots of tricks up his sleeve, so there might be another fourth build that is completely different from the first three. He does know he's going into a best of 7 at some point, this robot, so.
Yeah, sure.
And I think they got an update between
this, was it
well, maybe going into the semifinals, they probably got an update.
Yeah.
So
we usually don't let anyone do an update if it's like just one matchup. You have to be able to see the future, or else you can too directly snipe.
Yeah. But still, I mean,
Yeah.
when you're down to 4 bots,
Yeah,
you
he
can
could
kind of narrow
probably
down what
tell.
you're up against.
Yeah, exactly. You probably tell where it was going to be.
And we saw that Mass Tempest build used against Terran or Random, or whatever you want to call it, Xena. So it's not like it was a matchup specific idea. Okay, so we got the one Scout Adept. I like that. Does not see the Roachhorn? Yeah, okay. I didn't think that was close enough. Jades don't have the greatest vision range in the world. In fact, I think they used to, and it was so overpowered that they had to nerf it.
Yeah, I think so. I remember that. Yeah. You could use it to scout everything.
The other thing is, since you could see so much, it was very easy to know if it was safe to complete the shade.
Yeah.
Now you're a little bit more up in the air. It's like, okay, I shaded in a nearest mineral line. Is there 6 queens here, or do I get to kill drones for free? It's hard to know.
So yeah, there is the Phoenix. Tag number 198. Burrow coming on Caninana's side.
So again, in a weird way, I think losing the Adept is actually good for Deimos. I think Deimos wants Caninana to be droning, not building army. So the less pressure he puts on the Caninana, the more likely Caninana is to drone. But as I say that, there's still 10 lings were in the production tab. It could be that this isn't responsive at all, too. That it could just be a timing attack out Caninana.
Yeah,
A little out of character for him, but you know, you want to win championships, you gotta do what what your opponent doesn't expect. It's always like Idra. When Idra cheese, it would always be more powerful than, or more effective than anyone else, because no one would ever expect him to cheese.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of the same with Caninana. It's like, oh, he's the macro player. He's the one I can open 3 Nexus before Gateway against and be okay. And it's like, well,
no,
maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it will be a good map for it again. I was thinking what would potentially stop it, and there's no ramp up to the natural. So if he does go, he's again got pretty good surface area, wider fight.
Yeah, actually not using his Phoenix this time. He's kind of pulling them up. Okay, now he goes in.
Yeah, there. Yeah,
Goes after a
he
queen.
waited. It was way longer. Yeah, that he came across, but I think it was a good first target.
It might be like a different priority now. Now we might be like going after the anti-air instead of just going after workers. Like, look, he's got enough to lift drones, but he's not lifting drones. Never mind, I take that back. He lifted a drone. I guess he's too busy killing the Overlord first. Okay, going after the Queen. I like it.
Stalker's up front,
I think he'll be able to lift that once more. Yeah. So not hurting the economy as much, but probably hurting the injects.
Yeah, but here's
the flood.
Flood.
Oh my gosh, there's so many wings.
Yeah, there's just nothing this time because the stalkers came across.
Wow, this is so much better for Caninana than game 1.
Yeah.
And he won game 1.
Yeah.
Oh, even scooting forward a little bit with the Zerglings to get a surround on the drones, on probes. I love it. Nice spot to fight though with the drones. There's just too many wings though.
Yeah,
And Immortals and Stalkers are definitely not what you want against this flood.
Yeah, if Phoenixes could pick up buildings, maybe. But that's it. One work left somewhere. Colossus comes out, but it's not your time. The Phoenix could come back and try and pick up individual wings, but I don't think that's gonna work. 0 workers and minerals, so there's no comeback.
Okay, I was curious. I had to go check. I just did go check the ladder, and
The matchup is, or
yeah. So despite Deimos being higher ranked on the ladder, like actually being number 1 on the ladder, he does have a losing win rate versus Caninana.
Yeah.
The Caninana's not his number 4. It's just he's got his number. Wow, 4-0.
Colossus range finishes.
Congratulations about
the hero,
Balthazar. So
yeah.
because I mean, like, Deimos, this is Deimos' first season, and going all the way to the finals. And Caninana, like, well deserved. Probots, like he did what it took to become a Probots champion.
Yeah.
He made a bot that was always not cheesy, thinking about going, like, learning all aspects of the game, and then putting in the effort to actually continually work on this bot until he got there.
still has to somewhat relaunch an attack.
Okay, yeah.
But,
So as I was looking at that, did I call it too quickly? That is a dead mineral line right there.
Yeah, there's still 11 workers. Like he'll build. Okay, there it goes. I knew he was building up to something. It was just was there anything that could stop him? But, yeah, he'll go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he was mopping up the main base. So and then I looked over and like, wait, what are you doing back here?
Yeah. Well, the Colossus killed everything and then eventually walked across the map until it died. But, and then I guess he just had a prerequisite army supply to move out again.
I still remember you and Andy Man were casting a game of Sharkbot against my bot, and Sharkbot was just finishing up the final structures with his Zealot Rush, and you're talking about the next game.
Yeah.
But then Sharkbot's like, oh, it's 4 minutes in, I better transition.
Yeah.
He transitioned and ended up losing in a long game.
Yeah.
And I think he was like up in the series too, and ended up causing the entire series.
Yeah.
I almost pulled that myself here.
That's it. Yeah. Bots
It's like, this is over. Let me just look at the website for a second. Like, what happened here? Like, wasn't that base dead? Did he run away, or did he actually end up losing all these links?
He lost them to this.
Oh, the Colossus got out. Yeah,
Yeah, and the Colossus ended up walking across the map. Yeah, here, and then it finally died.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Replays are actually coming in handy for me. No, I wasn't paying attention.
That's why we do them, specifically for that.
Specifically for distracted casters.
Exactly why. Holy smack. Congratulations, Caninana. Not only is it the only bot that beat a human, you 4-0'd a bot of the top, authors in all of Probots history. And this is the first time, I'm going to say it here on stream, first time Rust has ever won a Probots. I don't think a bot encoded in Rust has ever won Probots. So, wow. We all wins all around. W's, W's, W's. So, oh, someone's checking me. I hear secret clickings. That means someone's like, wait, has a Rust bot ever won?
I'm going to the Rust channel right now in Discord, because I can't think of any other bots that are built in Rust.
Who else? Right? I think it's the only one, right?
I think
Okay, no, I recognize some names here.
Yeah.
There's some bots in like Division 2, Division 3 on the ladder. Division 1's typically the only ones who qualify for
okay, I'm gonna stick with my initial statement that he is Caninana is the first Rust bot.
Yep.
I can't think of other bots that are in Rust, but either which way, Python pretty much has dominated the top of the Probots, and I think that would be a good stat to have.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good stat to have. How many, what languages have won across the Probots spectrum?
Yeah.
We have. It's definitely been. I would say, if off the top of my head, Python's the biggest, followed by Java and C
Sharp. I want to say what's tier. Yeah.
What's Micro Machine,
right?
So tier and Sharpie or C Sharp. We got Micro Machines and C++. He wins a bunch. -0 is written in Go. So I'm not sure if he actually won at Probots, but he was definitely one of the top bots, and he's written in Go.
I think isn't Xena in Go as well? No, they're in Haskell. They're in Haskell.
Haskell, which is the most cool language, we'll say. Hardcore language.
Most obscure language, I would say.
If someone writes a bot in assembly, then they'll take over the cool.
Damn, please don't.
And then Java, we have a lot of bots. There's Ben bots, myself, Dominion Dog.
I would say just Java is the next largest group of cluster. Like if we were to do like a little cluster of bots, I would say
C Sharp's probably the second biggest after Java.
C Sharp,
after
it's tier, and who's in C Sharp?
Tier and Sharpie, right?
Those are the big two, but there's other bots there as well.
I would say in
maybe
terms
not
of
Probots one.
Yeah, of course. Well, we're talking about Probots here. Either which way, we have our first Rust winning bot, Caninana. Though, you know what though? Kudos to you, Caninana. You have climbed up this ladder. It's a tough ladder to crack. The top eight, not so. I wouldn't say it's like impossible, but we've seen new authors come in, get top 8, and stay in top 8, and it's not unusual for a new author of the new echelon of bots to get to top 8 and stay in that round of 8 space. But to come in, you've been diligent. Like we have Ben Bot, who has been hovering in that top 8, semifinal range for quite some time. But for you to break out from the humble beginnings of group stage all the way up here to finalist, well fought. Absolutely well fought. And I mean this, definitely say it, no shame on you. I was surprised. I thought those Deimos, those first games looked pretty strong for Deimos. So
yeah, the Phoenix thing was definitely good for that. I did think the Tempest one was gonna go kind of well, not quite the way it did, but I thought the Infestors eventually were going to be a thing, but the way that played out was very different.
I thought it was finished.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, Caninana slaughtered it. It was perfect. I did severely doubted. I thought Deimos had that game despite being on one base.
Yeah,
and Caninana proved me very, very wrong.
And also staying up in the winners bracket, not even to the losers bracket. You stayed all the way up here as a champion. Caninana, Ratosh, fantastic. Fantastic play for all of us here at Probots for seeing you come up. I'm always so proud to see bot authors, like, it's progression, right? And it's such a healthy scene because, again, you don't want everyone to always be the same winners over and over again. Fantastic season, everybody. Well worked for all bot authors. We give you all a round of applause. You all have worked very hard to put on a great show, because, of course, as much as we're here putting on the casting and our production, whatever, but like, if there's no bot authors, there's no show. So I mean, that's really good. It comes down to, if there's no one out there putting these bots together who's improving these bots, there's no show and there's no Probots. So, we just make it look good. Like, we just put and I'm going to say this also, I'm going to make another say, is that out of all the bot scenes across, I think we have the best show. So just saying that as well. So
yeah.
No shade on the rest of y'all. Rocket League, you all good too, but but
I mean, it sounded a little like shade, but that's fine.
Don't come at me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows StarCraft esport, best esport.
Exactly. So, whether bots or humans, it doesn't matter. So
everyone else is just our sons. That's it.
OG across it.
Yeah, the only one that I'll ever accept that argument from is maybe the Melee people. But
Melee is
everyone else is our sons.
That's true. That's true. Okay, cool. So that was a fantastic season, guys. Endershore, let's hear some of your favorite elements of the season, and we'll kind of wrap this show up and put it in the books.
Yeah, I think kind of overall, just like the newness again, which we saw highlighted here, that we have a changing of the guard sort of thing. We saw a lot of new bots do well. We saw a lot of innovation, and we saw a mix of cheeses winning, and we saw a mix of now like macro games winning with like different builds. And I think the other thing too, it's become much more of a staple that everyone has to be able to use many units, or else you're not going to get to the end.
Yeah.
Tell that to Zozo, the only bot who actually beat Caninana this season.
Yeah, exactly. yeah.
I'll refute that. I still think there's the Dimitro bot meta still exists.
There's opportunities, but it's more about one of those people taking their time to code against it. But yeah,
no, that's for sure. So fantastic! I think this has been a fantastic. Not only we also broke some Probots records in terms of viewership. So thank you all new people who've come over here from Hearthstone and from maybe Rocket League, or discovering us from all different ways across the internet to come here and join us here on Probots. Really appreciate you being here. Before you leave, of course, hit that subscribe. Ketrock, what was your kind of favorite moment of the season?
I just in conglomeration, like I'd say like the last 3 casts we've had. Sometimes in this game we have like a bot tries something, it fails, tries again, it fails, and it lost 2-0 or something like that. But the last 3 weeks we've had so many diverse games, and we've had like best of series going to ace matches and stuff. It's been like really exciting. So I'm glad actually I was here to cast these last 3 weeks, because I think these are probably the best 3.
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
When you get close to the finals, that's when you really get to consolidate, where we're no longer going.
It's less one-sided in the matchups, but it was also it was just really interesting games.
Even the sweeps are very
this 4-0 does not tell this story at all. Like
not
at all.
Not at all.
Yeah. So
it's a beautiful game. There's no shame at this finals at all. It was a fantastically well fought, well earned game, fought on all sides across, whether Caninana, Deimos, Sharkbot. You all fought really, really hard. I'm missing a name there, but it'll come to me. But fantastic. fantastic. And for those of you out there, don't let this intimidate you. You can get started on a bot today.
Yeah.
Like you can get started on a bot today, and you don't. And something I learned from one of the bot authors from Rocket League, he's not even a software engineer. I'm not even a software engineer. Like you can get started. You don't need to be, working at Google to make a bot. There's a hobby it. You can do whatever. Honestly,
that's it. That's our goal for next season. I want the winning bot to be made by like a baker. That would be ideal. I want your day job to be you make croissants, and in the evening you code bots to slay people.
Well, I actually had encoded for like 14 years or something like that, and this SC2 bot was like my little project to like learn to code again. And now I'm working as a software engineer, and I've had a bot that's had a bunch of success. So
there you go, career maker.
Yeah, and Caninana is like he's a good inspiration story because he came into a scene that had like well-established bots that have been worked on for years, and he's starting from scratch. And he joined that scene, and now he's risen right to the very top.
I think that, and I'll put it out there. My goal for next Probots year is to tell these stories of these bots a lot better, because there are some really rich stories of like, we talk about the bots a lot, and I think for me personally, one of the things I really want to show the bot authors a lot better, because just like Cat Rock said, like he's come in from a very young perspective of being a bot author. Like he's only two years of Caninana in Probots.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, and as over the vast majority of the scene, there are very mature bots with very mature strategies, and to come up is I think it's an amazing feat. So my goal is to tell those stories a lot better. So
if you go back to past Probots too, you can see his progression.
Yeah,
you can see like, okay, he got slaughtered, but he's pretty good at this thing. And then next season, it's like, okay, he didn't get slaughtered by these things anymore, but he just couldn't hold up to the best bots in this. And then, and all of a sudden, now he's like the best at this certain aspect of the game, and now he's like a champion. So, yeah.
Exactly. Fantastic. And those are fantastic. Those are the stories I aim to tell, and I'm going to hopefully be able to tell those stories a lot better, and we'll look into it. Well, and so I'm always trying new types of videos here on the channel, so we'll see what we can do. I'd love to do a featurette and the rise of Caninana or something like that. Either which way, you guys have been fantastic. Thank you, casters. Thank you, Endersword. Thank you, Ketrock. Thank you, BY, who is, not here, but he's here in spirit. I can already feel the melee powering through me, but chump check. It's just, that's it. Yeah, you all do your chump checks. Thank you all. Thank you, production. Observers, we were observed by Magnet. We have Range Rock as our production behind the scenes, and also the admin. Admin is also Magnet, so pulling double duty. Thank you all for helping us put together this show. Thank you all for watching. This is the last Probots S thing for the year. 2024 is over for us. I will still be around. I've been meaning to try that little that game. Was it Little Robots?
Little learning machines?
Little learning machines. So I think I might stream that in my regular Monday segment, and I might give that a shot. Maybe not this Monday, because this week has been pretty burning out. But next Monday, I might do a stream for Little Learning Machines. Just a little bit of a fresh thing, something weird, something different. And we'll do it on stream and kind of build it. Like the talk yesterday really inspired me to, I would like to get some machine learning into my bot at some point. So
I think it'll be really relevant. Like that game will be really relevant for some of the stuff you talked about. Like it's all about the reward functions of how you're incentivizing and disincentivizing the little machines.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's good. So absolutely. And then obviously for those of you who are avid follow the channel, next year I'll be bringing back the Monday streams, and we're going to be working on they've revamped the micro ladder. I hear good reviews of it. People are talking really highly of it. So it'll be exciting to dive into that again. Other than that, if you haven't yet, check out, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And then of course there is a template. Get started. It's in the description, in the chat. I should have had it pinned. I don't know why, either which way. And then also, if you want, join me next year into our workshops and events. You can go and join !join and be part of that. Okay. Other than that, boys, anything parting words? Anything you want to let the good people in the audience know?
Great season. Shout outs again to anyone that did the humans versus Probots.
Oh yeah.
Go check out. Not that we need to plug Harston, but go check out his bot content. Leave comments that thanks for chipping in on that, and thanks for playing against Sharkbot.
Absolutely.
Good to have people like that involved.
Catrock, for you?
Yeah. See you guys in 2025. That was a great season.
For some reason, that sounded longer, 2025, than it actually is. All right, either way, Jay.
It's the future.
It's the future.
Yeah.
From us here at Probots, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.